Howdy. Ho, 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 everybody. This is Gaming Ramble. I forget.
You almost did it. You
I
almost did
almost
it.
did it.
I
I
felt
almost
it.
did it. This is Gaming Ramble Radio, actually, with the long form exclusive behind the scenes right now for you guys who prefer the long form content. We, decided last week that we'll kind of just give you all a 10-minute intro into each episode, talk a little behind the scenes, a little in the weeds about what's going on over here at the Game and Ramble headquarters. Loon, how you doing this week? How you feeling, man? How's life treating you, my
Um,
friend?
yeah, life's not been treating me too bad. Finished Shadows 100%. Should probably turn this off so it doesn't distract me. Shadows 100% is all done. I didn't want to leave that because I was like umming and ahhing whether or not I wanted to do it as quickly as I did. But then I was thinking of like when I came back to Valhalla, there was so much to do. And that's kind of why I never ended up 100%ing it. So I didn't want to be in that situation again. So I'm glad to get that like completely done. But other than that, like it's been snail pace slow for like every. There's been no news. There's been nothing.
It's brutal, dude. As we prepare the show each week behind the scenes, obviously I'll hit Loon up and I'm like, bro, I don't know how we're gonna do a show this week. It has been because we rely on news a lot for our topics, and which we've had hit or miss results with that. I think that I'll just because I guess this is sort of the behind the scenes stuff that I don't know if you guys enjoy this, but I guess this is the behind the scenes stuff that the longer form viewers are going to get insider knowledge
Just
of that.
gives them something to listen to for them truck drivers. See, we remember.
Absolutely. Um, Yeah, so like looking through, and it is kind of the weird thing where if we're able to spin news topics in an interesting manner, so like it's been 4 years since we've seen Insomniac's Wolverine game. That has over 500 views right now, posted 3 days ago. The Switch 2 is about as powerful as a PS4. The only reason I think that caught as much as it did is because we posted it the same day that news traction was picking up steam. So I think that our immediacy there, being on top of that one immediately helped a lot there. But then like the Deus Ex video bombed, um, you know, and the Ubisoft uh, about the upcoming Rainbow Six
Tactics
turn-based
game.
tactics, yeah,
Yep.
that bombed. And so it's like trying to trying to figure out how to spin news topics to make it a more interesting topic and also trying to pick our punches just in general about what news to even cover.
Mm. That to be fair, a lot of that is like hindsight though, because you would when we're sitting there, you would think, oh yeah, like people would surely be interested in hearing about Insomniac's Wolverine and talking about it and stuff like that, or maybe less so the Rainbow Six thing. Looking back on it, maybe that wasn't. But what was the other thing that didn't do too hot?
So the Wolverine thing did really well. The Deus Ex one didn't do well at
See, the
all.
Deus Ex one, that's the one that kind of surprises me because
Me
that's
too.
kind of like a thing of like, man, I thought like a lot of people would want to talk about that topic, but you know, it is just a time thing at the end of the day. We don't know what everybody else on the platform's doing. For all we know, people have been talking about it for weeks. For all we know, of covering stuff like that. Um, so yeah, it's just it, it's all trial and error, man. It's all trial and error.
Absolutely. And that's kind of the thing we're doing this week is not that we really have a choice, but we're pivoting away from news this week because once again, we don't have a choice. There is no news to report on right now. We were talking about maybe covering the marathon stuff, but neither of us really give a shit about it. And I think that's kind of our main metric for if we're going to cover something. If Loon and I want to talk about it, we talk about it. And if it's something we don't give a damn about, we just don't talk about it. And I don't really ever want to get into that spot where we're covering things
And
just
it's like
to
a
get
sigh
clicks.
between every single like marathon. Right, marathon.
Yeah.
Because yeah, no, it would be a very easy road to walk. We could both easily punch down on it, being not too particularly fond of live service. It's a potentially another blunder for Sony. There's so many ways that you could easily take the easy street route, but
Hmm.
when at least, I'm sure you feel the same way. Whenever we're talking about topics, it's about stuff that interests us. That's why we talk so
Totally.
passionately about it. I really couldn't care less about marathon.
Yeah.
So
Positively or negatively. Like
no,
I
I,
don't
I'm
care
not
one way or
rooting
the
for its
other.
downfall, and I'm not rooting for its success. It's going to be something that I will never touch at all. And power to you if you're hyped for it.
And I mean, I think there's also we talk about it a lot, like opportunity cost and creativity cost, where if we're doing nothing but news, there's obviously going to be an element of creativity that's lost because we both love games and topics and like trying to find our own fun spin on
Hmm.
things. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And I think that that's something that of course, at the end of the day, I want to make the thing that people want to watch. Like, I don't, I don't have any interest in putting something out there and it getting zero traction and then doing it over and over and over again. I'm never going to do that. But I think it's worth trying new things, throwing it out there, seeing if people really like it. And if people really like it, then keep coming back to it. I've always just wanted to make things that people want to see. You know what I mean? So I think that's we don't want to we don't want to limit ourselves to just like, okay, well, here's the news, we're going to cover that. Here's a review, we're going to do that. We also want to have fun. And I think this week we got some fun shit on the board. And there was actually, I guess, because Loon and I, we were going to talk about this and I forgot to bring it up to you. But so Loon and I share a document together where we just jot down ideas. And there were a couple I had in here that I think would be kind of cool, Loon, and I wanted to get your take on it. Um, so something that I thought of recently, where I don't want to say I thought of it, I saw it I saw it elsewhere on I believe it was a podcast called the NFR podcast. It's like a rap podcast. It's like two Canadian dudes talking about rap music. It's pretty cool. And
Word, eh?
and right. Yeah. And but they have this thing where they create a image and it'll have 10 games on or 10 albums on the image, and they play a thing where it's like keep 5 delete 5, where you gotta out of those 10 you gotta like cross off, you gotta X off 5 that you remove, 5 that you keep. And I was, is there any way of doing that in real time, or would that have to be something that was highly edited? Like, is there any way for you to
Um,
actually like
I mean, you could
draw
use
on
paint.
OBS?
You could use paint, couldn't you? MS
Okay,
Paint.
cool.
I've never used it. I don't want to set expectations higher.
Right.
But it would just be a window capture in Paint, and then I assume you would build the image in Paint. So you'd pull the images in and then crop them so that they're all fairly the same size.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could try that out, and then you would just be like, yeah, cross that one out, and then there's obviously the all the different tools of paintbrushes or whatever, and you just pick the thickest one and just X it or slash it.
And I want to do that wheel thing that you brought up, and I've been thinking of countless, dude, that wheel. There is so much with that wheel that we could really like. I was thinking blind rankings would be fun as hell.
Hmm.
So we spin the wheel, whatever game we get. Like, I don't know if that would be two captures, I guess, where we have the wheel on one and like a note app or a note, Microsoft OneNote or whatever on the other side, and which I know this is a lot of production work on your end, so I'm not these aren't things we got to
You're
implement
like,
anytime
yes,
soon.
more Windows. No, it would be. I don't think that would be too difficult to
Okay.
get done.
Um, but yeah, like a blind ranking where we spin the wheel 10 times. But the cool thing is I don't know if you've seen these go viral. I'm a big sports like junkie with so I see people, you know, on Twitter and stuff pop up in my feed where they'll do like blind ranking of the greatest NFL
Yeah,
teams
yeah.
or
It's been like trending on like TikTok video because you see it always pop up and then they like roll it and it will pop out like like a foot because for us it's obviously football's much more.
yeah,
And what they've done is they set a goal for like 10,000 career goals and then it rolls the player and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, keep that
yeah,
or like slash that. It's like, yeah, man, like it really is just you can get so creative with it. When something just pre-generates something, that takes the pressure off of like any bias that you would have. You obviously have
exactly.
a slight bias in putting what's going to be pulled out of it, but if you're putting like 200 entries in there, that completely just eliminate. Like you just be like rolling and be like, oh look this, oh look that. So yeah,
And so today we're actually going to be doing a game called Beat It, Backlog It, or Burn It. Or maybe just beat backlog burn. I don't know what rolls off the tongue better, but try out, I don't know. And so this is something I thought about, and it's once again, it's not like we're mastering creativity here. This is essentially start bench cut in the sports world. So in the sports world, you would say, okay, LeBron, Jordan, Kobe. You got to pick one to start, which is like, okay, that's the guy. That's the guy we're going to absolutely keep. Then you're going to pick one to bench. That's the guy that you're going to be like, all right, he's not on par with the starter, but we still want him around. And then you pick the guy to cut, which is like, all right, you're not on par with the other two. And so I don't know. I just think that type of stuff is fun. It's silly. It's something that everybody can engage with. And whenever we're covering Deus Ex, and it's like, okay, if you haven't played Deus Ex, you're not going to click on this video.
hmm
And I started thinking about that. I'm like, okay, if you haven't played Rainbow Six, you're not going to click on this video. Okay. So how do we mitigate that at best? And then
create a
you look at
topic that everybody can get involved in.
exactly. And even some of our reviews don't perform all that well. So it's like, okay, well, if you haven't played the game, are you not tuning into the review? Because it's not like we're getting codes, and we could get codes, but I'm not. I don't. Which is stupid on mine, and it hurts the channel. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm such a fucking weirdo in terms of the wanting to be as authentic as possible. And I think about it all the time. I'm like, I don't think people even give a shit about authenticity anymore, which bums me out to some degree. But it's like, I want to pay for my fucking game. That way my money is being on the line. Like my money is on the line, just like y'all's money is on the line. And we're in sync like that. And,
Equals. Yeah.
and I don't talk about that a lot. Like I don't say, "Hey, I'm not, I'm a man of the people." Like I don't try to fucking beat my chest about it, but that has always been the MO is like I want to be in the exact same spot that the people are in, and I want to put my money on the line. Hopefully that I can weed through some of the bad shit and the people who have similar taste as me can know, okay, well if he didn't like it, we have a lot of similar tastes. I don't know if I really want to spend 70 that's my whole. But anyways, that doesn't fucking matter. But when I look at, like the Wolverine topic, that's actually it's interesting because the game hasn't come out, right? So you don't have to have played the game to have any sort of insight into this conversation. And the video did incredibly well. So I'm like, so should we maybe do some wish lists in the future? Like 10 things we wish for in fucking the Outer Worlds too. Like I think we could do stuff like that where I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also comes down to how fresh it is in people's minds. Like, obviously, it wasn't that long ago that that Wolverine Deadpool movie came out. There's
True.
announcements on X-Men stuff, with it being leaked and then making like their return to Marvel and stuff. So, like, if you're gonna put it any time, it was probably the best time to do it then, rather than say, 6 months from now, where probably a lot of them stories get buried.
Yeah.
There's not going to be really that much anticipation for that Wolverine game because they've not said it, they've not shown anything.
Well, and that's the thing is
Oh,
like also maybe in 6 months they do show something,
yeah.
so then our video is yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's what I was thinking in that very specific moment. It was like, oh, it's been 4 years. That's a long time. Let me take my little shot now while I can. And not to, I don't have some agenda against Insomniac. I think they're one of the most productive developers of the generation, but it is it's a thing where in this position of I don't want to call us media or whatever, but I guess we're somewhat in the media. It's just our own form of media. We're not like access journalism. We're not
Amateur media boys. There we go.
yeah, we're not, a mainstream site or anything, but we are. It is media that you're consuming. Well, watching this
Yep.
is a form of media that you're consuming. So it's like I'm trying to find the best spin on everything without getting to a point where it's just totally fucking ridiculous and we're doing clickbait. And I mean, clickbait, and that's kind of clickbait, the 4 years thing. The 4 years thing isn't true. It's been like 3 years, 8 months. So it's like you can round up to 4 years, but
Yeah.
there's a little clickbait in there. I can't lie.
To be fair, though, I think anybody that really there's a big difference because even in the most earliest conception of news, there's clickbait.
Of
It's
course.
always existed because that's the point. You need a hook.
Yeah,
If you don't have a hook, no one's going to pick your thing up to distinguish it from the hundreds of different other newspapers and stuff and magazines. So as long as it's respectful of the reviewer, I think that's it.
totally.
Like it's not like, oh, it's been like it would have been different if it was like it's been 4 years, Insomniac's going to go bust because they
Right,
haven't put any, like
right.
that's it. Like come on, man, that's just
Right.
disingenuous as hell. That ain't it. But the
Yeah,
4 year thing, I think that's fun. If anyone's getting bent
right.
out of shape by like a 4 month
4 months.
difference, it's like Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah,
Ain't that deep?
totally, man. Yeah, and I was thinking about that as well, where it's like that might be an interesting angle. It's been, and you put in the thumbnail 10 years later, and we review games that are like 10 years old. Like if Loon just happens to dive into something that's old classic, or I happen to dive into something that's an old classic that we just get the urge to play. It's like, ooh, let me instead of just doing the thumbnail where it's just review, like let me put in the thumbnail review 15 years later, 25 years later.
Revisiting after X years.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I've been playing off a protocol again. Like, do something productive with your time, you fucking maniac. This is like the fifth time I've played Alpha Protocol in the past 5 years.
I
Um,
am envious of that though.
I
I am
love it
envious
so
of that
much.
kind of just because I can't. It's a weird mentality. Like for me to revisit something, it needs to be either a fresh new list, so like with the
Mhm.
Legendary Edition, or I'm going back with the sole purpose of 100%ing it because I have so many things that have been left untouched and not begun yet. So it's like it's weird because I can completely understand like both sides of the argument because it's like, well, you may like boot up one of them games, for instance, and you may not like it. So you've wasted like the time of installing it, then getting invested in the intro, and then getting like 10 hours deep in something, and then you're like, this game sucks. When you could have just booted up Alpha Protocol, you're going to enjoy it, and then choose a different route. So I don't know, it's just very weird.
Yeah, I'm playing as recruit for the first time ever. I've never done that before. I'm getting different dialogue options. He's kind of like an idiot now because he's like this upstart. It's just that game is something, man. And it is that thing though where we talked about it with 2024 and 2019 where it's like those are really good years in gaming and those are years that you and I really really love 2024 and 2019, but they're not all-time great years. When you look at like 2023, there was a lot of games that were all-time great in 2023 that I didn't love. Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, so forth and so on, right? And like all-time great video games. And that's an all-time great year. And we're in another one of those all-time great years in 2025, but it's games that I'm not personally clicking with a ton. You know what I mean? Like an Assassin's Creed Shadows, the best Assassin's Creed game in forever. And fucking Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, a revolution in the role-playing game genre. I was like, okay, it's fine. It's good. You know, and it's just like it's a lot of these
Yeah.
games that are and I see things coming out nonstop that people are Blueprints is excellent, but I don't want to play that right now. You know, and it's this thing where I'm aware of the onslaught of content, and I know that it's not my job. I'm not getting fucking paid well enough to, dive in and be like, okay, I'm gonna play all this shit, dude. But it's kind of I feel obligated to cover it to some degree, but at the same time, I'm like, I love gaming. And I want to always love gaming, and I don't ever want to slump too hard. And when I start to feel that slump forming, I'm like, all right, pull back to basics. Let's enjoy this shit. Like pure enjoyment. And so yeah, that's where Alpha Protocol and I think I'm on my fourth season of NFL 2K5.
I mean, but you need it though. And what people also need to keep in mind though is that your comfort food is that, if that makes sense. If you
Hmm.
going back and revisiting, because like you probably see me all the time playing like Rocket League or like when I was playing
Right.
through like Football Manager and stuff. There's certain things where it is just I don't categorize them in the same way I would like a Baldur's Gate 3 because a Baldur's Gate 3 has finality for me. There will be a time where I put that game down and it's highly, highly likely I'm never getting it out of that case again. I'm just happy
Right.
with what I experienced, and that's that. Like what I said with Disco Elysium. Love, love, love that game. I love 100% in the things that I love, but I think if I went back in and tried to target the list of doing all of them things differently, for me personally, I think it would ruin the experience because the whole magic of that game is just being on that like roller coaster of emotions of having no idea what's coming up next. So if you already have that pre-notion that you know what's going to happen, you know the ending, you know all the spins, when you're
Exactly.
interviewing these characters and you're sitting there and you're trying to piece it together, you're like, well, I don't need to piece it. I know that you didn't do it, or I know that you did it, so I'm going to pressure you even harder and stuff like that. I don't know. I know some people probably enjoy that, seeing that different ways, but it's like how I could never replay like a Quantic Dream like game, like Detroit and stuff like that.
Right.
They're just I don't know. When the story as a whole is set in stone, and there genuinely is like very little wiggle room when you get down to it.
Mhm.
I don't know. Kind of yeah. Never want to replay that kind of experience personally.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's yeah, and everybody's gonna find their comfort food pockets of like what is your comfort food, but I think it's important to have it. And then that's a
Hmm.
topic right there that we can get into at some point, comfort food gaming. But we do have some news, my friend. Star Wars Zero Company, and we can get into this in a second here, but uh Bit Reactor, so some former XCOM developers and Respawn are developing a single player turn-based tactics game that was just announced, and we're going to get an in-depth look at it on April 19th. So, pretty much
Okay.
Midnight Suns, but for Star Wars.
What setting do we know?
Let's see. I mean, there's definitely Jedi. It looks maybe High Republic. It's called Zero Company. Um, is there any information? No, I don't think that. Damn, literally no
See, to me, that's kind of
information.
weird doing an announcement like that. Wouldn't you have just saved it for what would you say, April 19th?
Yeah,
Wouldn't it have just
right.
made sense to just sit on it for 5 more? Like, what? I don't know, that's just my cynicalness of like, why announce stuff like that and then make people wait for an actual announce? Like, that's very, yeah, very bizarre.
Yeah, I don't really, just once again thinking about, do you want to cover this? Is there anything to cover? Once again, they don't. They don't really provide us with information, and neither of us. Are you a huge Star Wars guy? Like, I can't look at these characters and be like, okay, this is set in the Imperial
So I don't
fucking.
have that level of like meticulousness like I do with like a Dragon Age and stuff like that. But I do thoroughly enjoy Star Wars, but I have like a love-hate relationship with it. Like it's very, very polarizing. Like I hate the Phantom Menace. I love Attack of the Clones. I actually am one of the weirdos that I don't think the original three films that they did, where it's four, five, six, I don't have a fondness for them personally.
Well, how about this, Lone? Um, you want to pause real quick and let me figure out some interesting ways of discussing this, and we'll kind of bounce back and forth. And do you think this is worth covering?
I mean, it'll be like a short 10-minute news thing, I assume. So you
Right.
can just push it out.
Okay.
It's no biggie.
Perfect. Let's
So we'll
try that.
pause the Zoom, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. All right, see you in a minute, guys. All right, that's on pause.
All right, guys. Apologize. We're doing some behind the scenes. Uh, ooh, okay. I know how we're gonna do this thumbnail. Got it, got it. Cool. So,
So you wanting this vertically stacked for this
n
announcement, or did you want
no,
the side by side and then
side
just
by side.
blast them? Okay.
Yeah, we'll do side by side for all the short form stuff, and then
Cool, cool, cool. Alrighty. Let me know when you want to be counted in.
yeah, let's go ahead and just talk about it, man. This will be fun, just on the fly.
Three, two, one, let's go.
My people. So, Loon and I were setting up here for our show today, and as we were about to record, we saw that this new Star Wars game has been officially announced. And this is something that was rumored for the longest time that a Respawn Star Wars turn-based tactics game was in development. And yeah, it's officially announced. The lead developer is going to be BitReactor, and this is a lot of former XCOM developers who got together to form this studio. So I'm assuming this is going to be a very XCOM-esque Star Wars turn-based tactics game. And Loon, how does that sound to you? XCOM with a Star Wars skin on it? Is that appealing to you?
So I'll begin by saying it is appealing to me. However, seeing the reception that Midnight Suns got,
Mhm.
I'm very, very concerned. I don't know why people are so quick to tear something like that down because we don't really get all that, especially on console. Like obviously you have the mobile market that's flooded with different stuff, but on console there isn't really strategy games in them IPs like for Marvel and stuff. You know, we've been given Spider-Man, you know, and stuff like that, but you didn't really get anything creative like what was Midnight Suns. And like and it's the thing of like it's not going to be for everybody, but for those that enjoy it, like myself, like I thought it was a breath of fresh air to be honest. It was a really cool
Yeah.
spin on what they would set out to do in an XCOM game, but kind of compacting it, if that makes sense. Instead of you exploring a huge map, it was just like a battle scenario. And by them also scaling that back, it made for some really cool, interesting, like environmental combat uh, interactability, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
If you
totally.
remember
And
that.
I do, yeah, like where you could explode certain,
Yeah.
objects and, characters that go flying and I do want to go ahead out the gate because you touched on it a second ago about the mobile market being flooded with turn-based tactics game and that genre typically being associated with mobile. And as soon as you look at the comments for this Star Wars Zero Company game, you're seeing people, going like, "Oh, it's a mobile game," or "Oh, I'm not looking for this." And then we'll talk about that in a second as well. But this is not a mobile game. Like from EA Star Wars official Twitter account, they say it's coming to PC, PS5, and Series X and S consoles. They're not even mentioning that it's coming to last gen. So I think this might be a little bit bigger than we're expecting. That's the thing. Whenever you hear turn-based tactics, I do agree with people that it's like you immediately do think to a smaller scaled experience. But not seeing last gen hardware on there at all, I begin going, okay, well, what exactly is the angle here? Like, why not on PS4 is we're seeing big AAA games not abandon, PS4 and scaling back to the PS4. So, like, what is the thing going to be that's preventing this from being on PlayStation 4 consoles?
I don't think it's particularly graphics that would hold it back. When I played through XCOM 2 at launch, it was a decent experience on uh, the Xbox One console, but what I noticed was there was a weird lag, if that makes sense. Like, do you know how you like get lag in like a multiplayer game?
Yeah,
It existed in the single player. Like it's not connecting to servers like Metal Gear Solid 5 did and stuff like that. So you're not getting hitched that way. It was just weird optimization. I think it's less so like the graphical powerhouse that they wouldn't be able to match on that. It's more so probably the processor and stuff like that. Like there's so much that goes on because you would have, for instance, like playing this on. This is why it hasn't been announced for Switch, has it? Or has it?
I don't think so. Not Switch either. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
because the Switch one, you could play like Civ 5 on it, I believe. I think I've spoken about it before, and it would be like, several minutes to pass a single turn.
right.
And that was the same with like Football Manager when they first brought that to Game Pass on the original Xbox One consoles. Like it had limitations. You couldn't load as many leagues. It would take much longer to move the calendar forward and stuff like that. So I think they're going to obviously lose a massive player base from them like sets of consoles, but it's probably going to be they would gain, I would hope, optimization and the game running smoother because trying to get that to run on them them consoles it would be very painful, I think, especially if they're pushing it forward even more. So,
So, I'm
yeah.
looking here, Loon. No mention of Switch or last gen at all, but also no mention of Switch 2. And you could officially announce for Switch 2 at this point because obviously we know the date, we know the software lineup, we know the specs of the hardware. So like I am very, very curious about this. And I should say we're going to get more information for their Star Wars celebration on April 19th. And
Yep.
Bit Reactor and Respawn will be on panel as well as some head honchos for Lucasfilm Games to, get a first look at the game. So I'm really, really curious. But that, like you're saying, I think that this might be a little bit more than we're expecting. And to your point as well, maybe it doesn't necessarily mean graphical power. That it doesn't mean that this is going to be the Baldur's Gate 3 of turn-based tactics game. Like, I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't
That'd
know
be
if that's the right expectation to set. I don't know if you're going to go into this game making crazy decisions and having, fucking all this mo-capped, incredibly well animated cutscenes. And I don't know. And that's the thing, we don't know. I would say probably don't go in expecting that. I don't think that's a good expectation to be set. Um, but I do kind of want to talk there for a second about what is the evolution of this genre because
full
we
interactability. That's an
okay.
like easy thing. Like everything has to be interactable. And what I mean by that is you had XCOM 2 that came out and it did fairly well in that, wheelhouse, but we'd hoped for a little bit more of a jump than what we got from Enemy Within, Enemy Unknown into XCOM 2. A game that actually did push that a little bit harder was Phoenix Point, and I believe it was from the original creator of XCOM. Um, and there was a lot more going on in that game. It just ran like shit. And this is the thing of like that's why I think they don't want to put it on to them other generation of consoles. Because I think Phoenix Point was available on Xbox One and it just ran terribly. It's already like hard enough to develop something like that to feel good to play on a controller, but when you're also fighting the hardware at every single turn of like, oh, if I blow this building up, it just crashes the game, or it
Ah,
makes it lag or stuff like that, or just AI just breaking. Like the big thing in these turn-based games, because I think even Wasteland 3 had this issue. Sometimes you just have I think they've even put in built-in timers now. If the AI can't make a decision in like 40 seconds, because sometimes they'll just stand there. You'll do your turn, and then they'll just stand there, and it's just like, what is it? What is it doing? And you're waiting, 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 waiting. Because I think they added like a force push button basically to just make
to
the
move.
AI do
Yeah.
something because it clearly is getting hitched. If they can fix that, that'll be amazing. Because it's that and just the performance that these titles and genres like really struggle with on console. So if they're going to be aiming to put them on console and take it seriously, that's the kind of stuff that you need to, iron out.
Is there anything else you want for like okay, let's envision your dream scenario. This is best in class. This is a certified classic Loon approved title when it releases. What are the things? Because for me personally, I love the structure of Midnight Suns. And I know a lot of people do not. I know a lot of people don't like the manner setup, don't like the interaction between the characters, think it's corny, think it's cheesy. I get that. I so I grew up in the golden era of reality television. And that felt like classic reality television to me. Like you're getting an inside look into the inner dynamics between these characters in the house. And I loved that, man, setting up the book club with Blade and he's trying to like go in there and mac on Captain Marvel. And like I just thought that it was so engaging. And I would like it to be a little bit more mature in Star Wars. What's the name of this damn thing? Zero Company. I'd like it to be more mature, but I like that peek behind the curtain and more character focused, deep dive that they do in Midnight Suns.
Um, hmm. I would like that. I don't think that they will do that. If I'm being honest, I don't think that because that's the difference is that when you're doing it that with Midnight Suns, you're doing it with established mainstay characters. With this, like we're both putting our hands up here. I don't know if this is like a massive like slice of Star Wars lore. Like I enjoy Star Wars, but I'm nowhere near like under the microscope pinpoint with lore is stuff. Like I know eras and that's about it. I know obviously characters and stuff.
Same.
I don't know the extreme intricacies that some people know and stuff. So I don't know if they'd be able to pull that off. If you were giving me like a complete wish, though, I would like them to somehow adapt. And this may like sound stupid, and this is just me like fully being like, man, I would love this. The Galactic Conquest kind of game mode from the original Battlefronts, but make that turn based. So
Mm.
begin in the atmosphere with like a Battlefleet Gothic style like fighting. So you have like your ships and stuff, and you're able to board the enemy ship. So maybe if you board the enemy ship, then it switches to infantry based combat of turn based, and just
Ooh.
having that kind of dynamic, having like planets that you can conquer or need to defend instead of them being locations like in XCOM where it's like you land in Africa or you land in the US and stuff like that. Land on like established like land on Coruscant and stuff like that and try and
Yeah.
defend that. Yeah, I think that could be cool.
Yeah, I dig that idea a lot. I didn't even think about something like that. And I didn't even really think about the whole I mean, you got fucking spaceships. So like you could do so much in
Yep.
terms of variability. Like you could have so much variety in terms of the actual gameplay encounters that you're seeing. Um yeah, I listen, I don't want to because we have no idea. You know what I mean? We have no
No,
idea what
it's
this
all
is going to be.
speculation.
But Star Wars games are on a little bit of a hot streak lately. When you Jedi Fallen Order changed everything. Where after Jedi Fallen Order, and listen, we don't get a ton of them, but after Jedi Fallen Order, it was like, oh, you can actually make single player high quality Star Wars experiences. And then we go into Jedi Survivor, which is a, like a ridiculously high quality video game. Both over, both developed by Respawn, and this is being over. Respawn is over this project as well, and not the core developers, but they're overseeing the project. And then you have Star Wars Outlaws, which like I know if you talk to people who really played Star Wars Outlaws, you're going to get a lot of people who really, really loved that thing. And sure, you're going to get people who didn't love it as well, but like Star Wars Outlaws was at the bare minimum a good video game. Like it's a fun video game to play. Sure, you might not love it as much as KOTOR or Jedi Survivor or whatever, but it's still a good Star Wars video game. And then we get the KOTOR remake announcement, and then we have Star Wars Eclipse announced, both single player Star Wars projects. Who knows if we'll ever see those? But it's this era of single player Star Wars games, and like I don't know, I'm feeling kind of confident about this. Like, I think this is probably, I guess that's where we shift the conversation, though, unfortunately, is sure, we might be excited for this. Are the masses excited for this? Do they need to be excited for this? How, like, because Midnight Suns did not perform well.
No,
Um,
but the difference is as well is we've seen a massive spike in it's called Star Wars Legion, I believe, tabletop game. So you're
okay.
seeing people being introduced, or even the existing fans that have moved over to. I think those people, this is who they're trying to target because it's been steadily on the rise, popularity wise, moving up into the wider masses of tabletop gaming to actually take it seriously because it's so hard to break into tabletop. That so many of them like do 2 years of it and then go bust. For instance, because it's just like, look, it's an expensive hobby. People have dumped thousands into Warhammer. You need to like set yourself apart to really have a chance of surviving in that. So I think they're the people that they'll be targeting first and foremost, and obviously dropping the XCOM name in there, so you have all the people that are going to be yearning for that. So I don't know. I think it's going to do much better and be much more well received than that Rainbow Six game is,
Yeah. Yeah.
because a lot of modern Rainbow Six fans aren't those that played the slower, more tactical games, so they're not understanding what they're missing out on. Because it ain't, well, they're probably not missing out on anything because it's not their type of thing.
Right.
But yeah, I think this will
Yeah.
this will do this will do probably better than Midnight Suns, but I don't. It's not going to be that smash hit success. It's going to be again an uphill battle, but I think it'll do better.
Yeah, and you can't really base anything on Twitter conversation or whatever, but it is just a bummer to like scroll through, oh, this new Star Wars turn-based tactics game has been announced, and people are like, why? And I'm like, what the fuck? And that's like the top, most liked comment is why. And it's like, oh, okay, they probably put $50 million into this thing, and then once again, that's not the masses problem though. To be very very clear, if you are putting a huge budget into a turn-based tactics game and you need it to sell 5 million copies for this thing to be successful, that's a you problem. That's not a audience problem. You gotta
Hmm.
you gotta understand. You gotta look at market trends and go, oh, okay, well, typically they sell around this amount, so we should have a budget that's for this amount, and like you should have your expectations set properly. But it's like, damn, man, at least give it a chance.
I mean, budget wise, yeah, you can argue from that angle. But the thing that annoys me is whenever anything gets announced and you have that kind of immediate reaction. Because it really annoys me that like level of entitlement. It's like even if you're a Star Wars fan and stuff, understand that there's going to be Star Wars fans that want more tactical experiences that don't want a first person shooter that's set in a multiplayer setting. They don't want the Squadrons games of like flight sims and stuff like that. It just why can't we have a bit of everything? It's a big
Totally.
enough IP that it can cater to everybody. So sitting there and being like, oh, boo, it's just like, well, you've had like, yeah, like you said, Jedi, Fallen Order, Survivor,
Mhm.
Outlaws. That's three third person shooters of fairly high quality. Like, can the tactical fans have like a have a shred to eat?
Yeah, third person melee, third person. Yeah, I get what you're saying. The third person perspective style
Yes, third
games,
person
and
action games. Like
totally,
they kind of they obviously do their own thing, but they're fairly interchangeable
I
compared
can't
to
lie
that.
though. A third person shooter would be so fucking sick in the Star Wars space, a third person bounty hunter Star Wars game. But I agree. It's like, let's get a little bit of everything in there, and maybe hopefully one day we can get that third person or first person bounty hunter style game. But we should get a tactic Star Wars game in the mix as well. And just hopefully it's budgeted properly and hopefully it doesn't tank the damn studio. Like those are all the things that you do. It's like, oh shit, okay. Let's not have a situation like that. Let's hope this wasn't mismanaged to hell and back. But I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see more on it. I definitely don't have that Star Wars fatigue, Marvel fatigue that most people do, but I also don't consume everything Star Wars and Marvel. I haven't watched a single Star Wars television show since like I watched a couple episodes of The Mandalorian. I was like, this is excellent, but I don't have the time to just like I play too many fucking video games to watch Star Wars TV shows and all the Marvel TV shows and stuff. But yeah, I'm excited, man. You have any final words you want to hit off on or
No, just
that's
eagerly, and I look forward to what you said the 19th. I
yeah.
want to see. I hope there's gameplay there. If it's just a trailer
Yeah.
and there's no gameplay, it's like, gee, why waste my time, guys? Come on. First
I
impressions are everything.
I think we're going to get gameplay and a release date. I am
I
not an
hope so.
insider. I do not have inside sources. I think this is going to come out this year. I think if you're trying to build up hype for a year plus for this thing, you need to hire new marketers. Like this isn't the type of game that's going to sustain a year
No,
plus
they
of
did
hype.
that
So,
with what was it? Midnight Suns, and it
Midnight
just
Suns.
didn't work.
Absolutely. So we'll see, guys. Cool. This is really interesting. I'm really curious to see how this does and how people react to it and what the gameplay looks like and all that. So,
Yep.
yeah, we appreciate y'all. This is Game and Ramble. We talk the latest and greatest video game news, and we try to get it out to you as quick as possible. So if that is something you like, stick around, subscribe, like the video, get it out to more eyeballs. If you appreciate good old news coverage that is not centered around the latest and greatest controversy, then hey, you have found a home here with us, and we welcome you with open arms, my people. So yeah, appreciate you guys. See you very soon. Goodbye.
Later.
All right. So there is that. And motherfucker, wouldn't you know, as I sit there and talk my shit about, oh, I can get this thumbnail out in 2.2 seconds. This is one of the one hard thumbnails to actually piece together because I got to separate each character individually. And
So this is beautiful. This is the first time that I can like flip that on you. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm just gonna be like, yeah, man, you do you.
yeah.
Woe is you.
I guess that is true. I might have to, this might be a kind of shitty thumbnail, I'm not gonna lie. Because usually I'm able to crop this pretty quickly. This doesn't look like it's going to be an easy crop at all. The arms lined up. Oh shit, we're still recording on Zoom, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they'll mind too much of this behind the scenes
Join us
shit.
on our journey of fumbling through the content creation.
I swear to God. I
Oh, but
swear
no,
to
I'm excited
God.
for that
Yeah, me
tactics
too.
game. I know, like, again, it's that type of thing where I fully understand it's all for me. It's my type of game. Like, I'm the weirdo that sat there and was like, no, I'm purposefully not finishing Midnight Suns because I always want it to be there. So, yeah,
Yeah,
excited for it.
well, and I mean, dude, I think your point was, and I don't know if I backed it up as well as I should have, but like your point on we need a little bit of everything.
Hmm.
And it's also your point on dude, we don't get enough like I know people have fatigue of these different IP, but I don't think we get enough of them. Like I don't think there's enough variety for these different IP. Like it'd be cool to see an indie fucking Star Wars game. It'd be cool to see whatever you want to throw out there.
No, I think a lot of people have held on to the mindset of like earlier years when there was like four games releasing for Star Wars in a year. Three
Yeah,
games, it's you're
we don't get that at
talking
all.
you're talking at best you get
Right.
one a year. Yeah, over a 12-month period, guys, one game. And a lot of times you don't get it in a year. Sometimes they skip years.
Yeah.
And it's like uh, it's a gargantuan IP. Like they used to be pumping these things out. So yeah, I don't know. I'm also like, as I said, I'm not against like tactics games as well. I know a lot of people felt like annoyed upon hearing that Persona 5 got a tactics game, which was Tactica. I haven't played it yet, but it's like the thing of like, oh, that's I'm more interested in trying that out than Persona 5 itself
Right.
because it looks interesting. It looks different. It's like, oh, I wonder what they could like do and put a spin on that kind of genre.
Yeah, well, it's the thing also where it's just more of the same. At a certain point, it's going to have diminishing returns where it's like, oh, I've seen this before. Oh, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to get if you try to just repeat the same success over and over and over again.
You end up Ubisoft
Yeah,
because they caught that lightning in a bottle with Far Cry 3 and were like, oh, well, we never need to change our design philosophy for our first person open world games anymore. And they made Far Cry 4,
exactly.
5, 6. And like, yeah, there has obviously been changes added, but that's fairly interchangeable as
Exactly,
games.
man. Well, dude, I if you want to go ahead and upload that one
It's
to
already
the
uploaded.
account. Ah, Jesus Christ. I am gonna go buy Starlink at some point. I gotta I
No,
gotta
that's if
fucking
Elon don't go bust before then.
all right, I
Man,
forgot that was even Elon.
man's struggling right now.
He's you think it's like a Coke thing?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is. Some people say that he might be on like ketamine or something.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
And it's
ketamine
like, I
actually
don't
makes the
know
most sense.
what's going on with you, buddy, but you don't look normal. That's not how a normal person sits in in a public space. But yeah, obviously I don't have the stresses that he has, trying to do everything that he does.
Yeah. I
I think he
you
just bit
know,
off more than he could chew, if I'm being 100% honest.
totally. And listen, dude, I know that everything nowadays is like got to become some fucking rage bait hate thing, but it bums me out that he kind of fell into that too though because Elon like he's done some fucking incredible shit and now it's kind of all getting because like even you as soon as I talk about Starlink it the conversation doesn't become anything about the wild innovation of Starlink that is providing internet to rural how like it I was looking up dude I'm gonna get 200 what is it megabits per second. I'm gonna get around 200 megabits per second internet speed potentially. Like I think that's the max, and it's down as low as 70. But like that's still double what my internet speed is now, more than double what my internet speed is now. So it's like that's cool as shit for such a rural area like where I'm at to be able to even have access to internet like that. But it like that's not the talking point, you know, and,
Mm.
and nor should it be. Whatever you're going absolutely buck wild all the time. But
Yeah,
yeah.
I think everything just needs to stabilize a bit. Everything's so volatile right now,
Yeah.
market wise, everything. So,
So
right.
I got our thumbnail. Tell me, all right. I don't know. I got it. So I cut out all of the people in the thumbnail and put them ahead of the top wording, and then I got the second text above the people. Um,
Oh, well, that was my bad. I thought you put it on. I was looking at it through my phone.
oh
I thought
yeah,
you'd already
I guess
applied it.
yeah. Actually, I could do that real
So
quick.
you You're holding it up to the screen. I'm just ignoring you. My bad.
No, you're fine, man. You're fine. I'll put it on there that way you can see it. And I guess that way, hey, that's perfect. The audience could see it if for whatever reason they're watching the video this
Uh,
long-winded. Um Oh, and dude, I want to say out the gate, crazy how fucking good you are at this. To be able to immediately get this topic and you just carried that video. So fucking great job on that. My
I mean,
brain
I
is
carried it as,
so.
as equal
Dude, you
footing.
did excellent on that because there was so much you talking about the different interactivity within these tactics games and just a lot of shit that doesn't hit my brain like it hits yours. So, I want to give you that credit while it's still fresh in my head.
Oh,
Um,
danker.
so I just posted the
Yep, that's it.
thumbnail. Okay. Okay, and now
Yeah, I
I
think it's fun.
am cool. Cool, cool. Actually, let me do something a little bit different with I'm gonna slightly skew
Cool,
the
cool.
color. It doesn't look so plain and white.
I'm actually gonna go
Go with,
look up while I wait. Like, how well did Midnight Suns sell?
oh, I think it was pretty rough,
Midnight
unfortunately.
Suns sales figure. Oh.
What was it?
How much did you say a number?
I don't know. 3 million? Oh God.
560,000 copies.
No way.
But that's only okay, that's only for Steam. But that's
Okay.
its prime, like what you need to understand is they don't shift on console. Tactics games do not sell on console.
Yeah.
XCOM is the only outlier on that. And even then, it only registers that it has so many users because they gave it away for free at parts. It's on such deep sales. So maybe at a push, everywhere available, maybe you could, yeah, maybe 700,000 copies, if that. That's
Fucking
so
A.
sad, man.
It is. It really is, dude. Because that game is high quality as fuck. All right. Saloon, let me timestamp this real quick. Um, if you want to chat with the audience, you can, or if you want to pause it, you can. But I'm gonna listen.
Well, what we'll do is I can lay out what is coming up. So what we are doing, because you can go and do whatever you're gonna do, and I'll just do
Okay,
it.
I'm gonna timestamp this real quick.
Um, Obviously for the rest of the videos, it's gonna be Brandon doing, I think, a Last of Us season two. Is it the first episode, right? I believe that came out. I think it's the first episode. They'd be doing an impressions review style thing on that. And then, as we said, the news has been fairly slow. So I don't think there's going to be all that many. If anything breaks, we'll obviously do it like we did that Star Wars thing. But we have two topics lined up because what we're going to try and do is pick one miscellaneous topic each. And my topic is free properties that desperately need a game adaptation. Um, and then Brandon's was what he alluded to earlier, the beat backlog burn. And yeah, we'll run through them. We have two lists each, obviously. Um, I think keeping them types of topics for like a maximum of like three games is probably best because that will give us six each. Not six each, six in total. And that keeps like the video a little bit smaller and compact. But yeah, we have tons of topic ideas that we want to do. And I think this will be fun. The games that desperately need a game adaptation. I have a few that I've picked out. Also, Brandon wrote down a few, and I have no idea what two of these titles on. So he'll be educating me then. So yes, 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 yes. As you can hear, how we perfectly do the editing and watching the video. He's also a viewer, guys. He enjoys the content just as much as you. So, right. What I can do is also get the trailers for these things so that I don't have to be scrambling later. But yeah, this is obviously the second longer form content thing. It's going to be a lot less regimented than the usual stuff. So if you have any feedback, be sure to let us know. And then we can try and change it if you guys want, more pauses so that there's um less ums. There you go. Stuff like that. Less piecing things together. I think that'll do. THQ Nordic. And then I have this. Mm, all right. What I'll do is I'll pause the Zoom so you don't hear me typing this out because this is going to take me a little bit. So back in a minute, guys.
We're back.
And we are back for some
Cool, cool.
TLOU. And let's go back over to
So yeah, they really
this.
just they saw the magic, how the cookie is made behind the scenes, all in like literal real time. They saw that's actually kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if people are as nerdy about behind the scenes stuff as I am, but like that's pretty cool that literally the news story broke as we were recording. We, in the span of 30 minutes, made the video, thumbnailed it, time stamped it, boom. Um, and like all of that was caught, the whole process was caught live. So, not that it's, we're not doing fucking construction work or we're not going to war or anything, but it is on the fly
Yeah, it's
improvisational.
interesting, obviously, to learn about that. Right,
Yeah.
so this is vertical, right? Because this is
Yeah.
the review, the view.
Yeah.
It
With a
sure as shit
view.
ain't the view.
Boy, thank God. Oh man.
Right,
Yeah,
so you want me to
this.
count you in?
Hold on one second. Let me make sure I didn't. Uh, okay. I always like a big worry of mine is that the characters in the thumbnail clip a little bit because I replace all the characters in the thumbnail over the top of their original self with the text. So like
Uh,
I'm worried that when I'm replacing them, you'll see like two shoulders on a character or something.
they're like
So
AI, AI.
yeah, right, right. Like no, no. I promise it's not. But if I'm being totally real, I do use AI for, but everybody uses fucking AI. People don't even know that's a whole different thing. But like a AI is powering what we're doing right now
Mm.
in some sense. Like AI is, people think everything AI is awful. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, no. There are certain things that humans literally cannot do. And yeah, we need AI for shit like that. But anywho, that's a whole different topic for a whole different day.
Anywho, it's TLOU. There you
Anywho, it's TLOU.
go. All right. So you're good to go?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right,
Let me.
three,
Yep.
2, 1, let's go.
The Last of Us, Season 2, Episode 1. We are here to discuss, to ramble with you all. I hope y'all all enjoyed this show if you have watched it. I watched the first episode, and Loon, I don't, you didn't, did you watch Season 1 of TLOU? No interest really. You played the games, you're like, I'm good.
I wouldn't say no interest. It's something that I'll probably dip into at some point, but I don't know. I I'm in no rush to experience it. It's not that I hate
Yeah,
it's just, the plot points I'm sure are fairly interchangeable and very similar, maybe
totally.
partially differently executed, but Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely they're following the structure of the story very not beat by beat, but very close to it. It's not like they're not doing the Mila Jovovich Resident Evil movies or anything like that. So I mean, and I am a firm believer that I don't want to even say this because I'm going to sound like the exact type of person that I hate the most. But, the people that say, well, reading the book is the best way to experience this. It's like, I do think playing the game is the best way to experience the story, but this is another exceptional way to experience the story. The story is so good here. And so let's talk about episode one of season two. Watched it last night. Um, it's a slower start episode one of season two. Season one was just like kind of consistently excellent to like a crazy degree. Season two starts off quite a bit slower. And I don't think there's anything in episode one that is going to just hook you in and be like, "Oh my God, I cannot wait for episode two." There's nothing really like that unless you've played the games. And like once again, that's already two times in the span of 3 minutes doing the gatekeeper bullshit. But like if you play the games, you know that episode two is about to be wild. It's about to be absolutely wild. And so for the people who've played the game, they're hooked in.
Yep.
And I do think the people who watched the first season are hooked in, but not because of what was presented in episode one of season two. It's just because of how good season one was, how good the acting performances from Pedro Pascal, from Bella Ramsey, how strong those were in season one, that you're invested even if the first episode of the next season was just a building block episode. And it was just a building block episode. It was an episode all about establishing, okay, here is, I believe the town is called Jackson. Here is this town. Here is how it's structured. Here is how the kind of inner political dynamics are working. You actually see the town starting to, I wouldn't say prosper, but prosper in the if anything can prosper in a post-apocalyptic environment, I guess the town of Jackson would be the closest definition to prosperous. Like there's a therapist in the town where you could actually go and see a therapist. It was like, I don't know if there are people, I guess, yeah, trauma in a post-apocalyptic environment. Maybe you would need a therapist. Maybe that would be the first like essential job on the market as you've seen half of everybody you love decimated. So yeah, probably need someone to talk to about that. So okay, cool. And then, you'll have um like they had their first run in with the stalker, the zombie, the stalker type of infected. And they have kind of like this council meeting of like, how do we deal with this stalker style of threat? And I think that's interesting. Like they're being presented in this sort of town hall structure to the meeting where Bella Ramsey and oh man, I forgot her. It's forget the lady. Isabel Merced is the lady who plays Dina, and they're kind of presenting what they saw with this stalker encounter to the council, and they're all debating on how to tackle this new threat. So it's like, okay, cool. There's the inner political workings of how everything's operating. And so they're doing a good job of building character arcs that obviously aren't going to pay off in the first episode, building some sort of idea for how the town is stabilized. And they're doing a good job of building all this up, but there's no point of episode one that is like, oh my God, unless
Hmm.
here I go again. You played the game. There is the end of episode one. If you've played the game, you're like, oh boy, oh boy. I
Yep. It's closing in.
it's
Stuff's
a
stuff's about to go down.
yeah.
Right. So I think because obviously I've not seen it, it's all just passing hearsay of stuff that you've obviously watched, people in the Discord have watched and stuff. A big worry of mine was that when they went and tackled through season two, which would be part two of the game, right? Is how they've lined that up.
Yeah.
Part two of the game is a lot longer than the first part of. of the game, quote unquote. So trying to compress that into one season, I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
They're
Surely
not.
this is going to have to be like multiple seasons on that second part of the game, and then that kind of leaves you with where would be the drawing line when you think of like the game? Where would you cut that in half to be like, okay, that's part one of season two, part two of season two, if that makes
You
sense.
you want me to spoil? I because we can put up spoiler walls, and I'll tell you what I think they should do.
Um, I mean, you can keep it vague. Like the game roughly runs for like 20 hours, right?
Yeah, okay. So I'll okay, yeah, I can do it without spoiling. What they should do in my opinion is season 1 be all Ellie, season 2 be all Abby.
Okay.
Because what they actually do in the first episode here is they which man, oh man, oh man, I have so many thoughts. Like I could talk about this first episode for an hour, which we're not going to, but um so they actually open the show with Abby and she's mourning. Obviously we're going to have spoilers for season 1, like of course. um so if you haven't watched season 1 and you want to without any spoilers, you've never
Yeah,
played
what
the
are you
game, go
doing
ahead
watching a review of season two? Get out of
and
here.
we appreciate the support. Leave a like and then come back after you watched it. So they kick off the show with Abby mourning the death of her father after Joel goes in straight up fucking savage mode, slaughters everybody. And it's like the remaining little Firefly bunch. And they're mourning the death of her father and a lot of the other people that Joel slaughtered. And so you immediately set up this sympathetic arc for Abby. Okay. And that's interesting. I don't, it's not as ballsy as what the game did. And I don't know if it needs to be because just on presentation alone for what they're doing, like Abby looks like Ellie. Caitlin Denver, I believe is her name. Caitlin Dever, the lady who plays Abby. She looks like season 2 or part 2 of Ellie in the game. So she looks much smaller, much less intimidating than the game version of Abby. And so I see a lot of people complaining about Bella Ramsey portraying Ellie, but I think the juxtaposition there is important to understand. Like, also, Abby doesn't look as intimidating as Abby. You get what I'm saying? The TV version of Abby doesn't look as intimidating as the game version. So
Yeah.
you kind of need someone like Bella Ramsey to play the TV version of Ellie to make Abby look more intimidating. You kind of get what I'm saying. It's like the trick that they use for Mark Wahlberg's an itty bitty guy. You know, like Sylvester Stallone's 5'10". Sylvester Stallone is Rocky, dude. Sylvester Stallone, when you see him, he looks humongous. Like there is a lot of that Hollywood magic and putting people, putting at Tom Cruise. They do a lot for
Hmm.
Tom Cruise to not look small, and so I'm not told. I understand people being like, "Yo, Bella Ramsey does not look like she doesn't look grizzled and gritty enough to play part 2 version of Ellie." And I get it, but neither does Abby.
Yeah, I
Neither,
think
yeah,
to be fair, that's kind of just. I get what you're saying. There's not like it would be different if Abby was like some hulking behemoth in the TV show, then it would be even more stupid. I think the casting was definitely a choice. That's also a contributing factor why I'm like in no rush to dive in because I wouldn't say I'd give it like an unfair like rap. I'd obviously give it its fair chance and stuff like that. But even just what looking like being having no connection to that first season and then seeing the promotional poster for Bella Ramsey in season two, and it's just like you don't strike intimidation in that poster like or any form of like there is no matching emotion because they tried to mimic the game promotional thing and it's like
yep.
you're not capturing that same essence. So that's my only big like wonder. Like, does she actually is she at least? picking it up in the other areas. She's not present. Because I find unless she really does an amazing job at portraying herself as being intimidating in the moment, but I've highly doubt that because she didn't really do that like in any of the other things I've seen her in. Like,
I, yeah, I think that so it's the really, really tough task of staying true to the source material as much as possible, but also understanding the you can't present her as this, she is hardened. She survived so much trauma. She is definitely grittier than the average, woman her age, of course, but it doesn't present as such appearance wise. And so I think their task is going to be difficult in terms of making her somewhat badass, but also somewhat very, very um, fragile in certain instances because they're going to have to do that, and they had to do it with part two of Ellie as well in the game. You know what I mean? So it's not like, and I do think that's why it's important to also look at Abby before just solely focusing on Ellie. You also have to look at Abby because Abby is also not all that intimidating. So I don't know if I, they're
is
not going to
that
be able to.
is that impacting your immersion though? That's the big thing of like, because what I'm sitting there thinking, like, I watched The Walking Dead for several seasons, right? And in the very beginning, you have Rick go through what he goes through, and he's fairly clean. Like he's not grizzled, but you go for like even 2 seasons deep, and he is defeated. He looks aged, he looks grizzled, he looks rugged, and everybody looks like that. And that's the thing of like, and that's portraying The Walking Dead in just a few years. This is meant to be a massive time jump from part one to part two, right? It's several years, like a
Yeah, it's a
good
few
at
years.
least 5 years, is it not? Like a good gap.
I think it might. She was what 12 in the first game, and then I think she's like 17, 18 in the yeah. So it's something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know
So
exact year count.
that's the big thing of like, I think they probably should have recast because this is the thing. Like, you need to build immersion in story. Um, if she doesn't look like she's been in a post-apocalyptic struggling to survive for that many years,
I do think she looks like that.
she
I
does
I
though.
I,
Okay, okay.
Here's the thing. I think she looks like somebody who she looks like a character that is struggling to get through it. Where like she doesn't to me come across as somebody who and that's once again going to be a the director and the writer's job to figure out how to lay out this plot line because if she is presented as just and that wasn't there's one moment where she's definitely more capable in episode 1 of season 2 where she's like okay she actually but she's taking care of whenever like the stalkers are introduced she starts freaking out and she's just shooting her gun all wild like she's not hitting the target and she's missing and like so there is that air of fragility or that air of not being this just total badass. And so it's important that they continue to frame her that way. And then when they introduce Abby to frame Abby, because they can't present Abby as this, hulking fucking, she's not going to be able to just, like in the game, you can go hand to hand with most enemies with Abby and just straight up, like, combo fucking Roy Jones Jr. them bitches to sleep. You can't present Caitlin Dever as such because she looks like part two Ellie in the game. She's kind of, slimmer built, normal looking woman. So in comparison to a normal looking woman, Bella Ramsey kind of fits as Ellie. And so it's just going to be interesting to see how they frame it. If I will give you this, if they try to do this thing where Bella Ramsey is like just decimating like just this total absolute badass, yeah, that's going to be a tough sell. I totally agree on that, but they haven't presented her as such yet. So I'm willing to give them some time to see how that rolls out.
Okay. I can at least empathize with some people though, of like because that seems like a massive lurch in change compared to the games. If you're a massive fan of the games and then you're being told that okay, that's Ellie, because you like in the beginning of The Last of Us 2, she's fully capable. They presented that in the first game when she had to do what she did for Joel, looking over that and like maturing during that segment. I wouldn't really foresee her freaking out the way that you said that she freaked out in episode one. That seems a bit strange to me to hear that. Um, and yeah, that the only worry is that, like you said, them casting both of them smaller. The whole point of Abby being the massive hulking brute is she's meant to be a threat. So if you need to be very, very careful with how you write Abby if they're of similar stature and similar frame and both fragile in ways because that can kind of impact like oh well that doesn't make like it's like I said it's the lurchingness of it. It's the like how some people struggle to get into the Witcher TV show and stuff because of the changes that they made with like Yennefer and stuff like that. There's always going to be that teething process, but you need if you can write a compelling enough story that can kind of hide up the cracks of that and people can
Well,
accept it for what it is.
yeah, and it would be the thing too where you would immediately be more empathetic to both characters, which I think is something that might have been missing in the game because they do look like more just normal people who are going to struggle their asses off. And to Ellie, Caitlin Dever, or to Bella Ramsey, Caitlin Dever is intimidating because she is going to be bigger and stronger. But that's the thing, once again, Loon, like you're saying, you can't just have Caitlin Dever just go in 1-2 combo and knocking people out that are 6'4", 250 pounds. Like that's going to look ridiculous. So it's going to be all about how they present it. But I'm open to it. It's a different direction. And I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see if they're able to pull it off with two not so intimidating looking main characters. But yeah, I thought, listen, I don't think that that first episode is going to, like, if, say, for some weird example, you didn't watch season one, you've never played the games, and you just were with your girlfriend who liked the show, boyfriend who liked the show, you were sitting there watching it, and they were like, hey, well, you don't really have to watch season one. Just come in, see if you like it. I don't think anybody who watches this as their first entry into The Last of Us is like just glued to the edge of their seat waiting for episode two. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I do think if you watch season one, you're locked in. You know what I mean? You know that these characters are, or these actors are excellent fucking actors, but
Okay.
they face an uphill battle nonetheless. So for me, it's like a this is I'm gonna finish the season. I just want to see what happens.
Mhm.
But I do think this could be one of those seasons where people start to drop off a little bit. I worry about that.
So it's like a closing question. We're obviously we're in a weird time period of Naughty Dog. There's not another Last of Us game announced. So they're getting through these seasons fairly quickly because TV is a lot quicker to produce than gaming now, strangely enough. So they're going to get to the end of this season, and if they have to squeeze out another season to fit all of part two story in, they're going to be then treading new ground. So is this going to mean then that say so that's 3 seasons worth to get both of them games done, as an example. So the fourth season, treading new ground, is that going to influence that next release of games now? Do you think that
I
that's going to dictate where that takes Ellie and stuff?
That would bum me out bad. Like
Because this is that's my biggest worry is like I'm not even like a big fan of like The Last of Us, but you're getting to the point where because it's gonna probably be what's gonna happen to the Fallout show as well. That's what people haven't really taken into consideration is that they're probably going to do stuff that they're going to bring in to the next game. So if you're not happy with like the direction that they're doing, like, and you're not happy with its flawless execution and how well that would translate into a game, like, it's going to impact it. So that would be a worry for me.
yeah, it's a big worry for me is that So if the success of the show is to that level, that would make me worry that they're going to continue The Last of Us entirely through television and not at all
Oh,
through.
okay. And just
Yeah.
dump the game side of it.
Yeah, because like you said, game development is much, much, much more excruciating, much longer, much more complicated than getting a television show off the ground. And if it's a situation where like Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet isn't going to release until 2028, 2029. So if that's the case, then The Last of Us 3 won't release until mid 2030s.
Maybe
By
even
that
later.
point, yeah, if it ever comes out. But I mean, by that point, you're on season 7. You know what I mean? Like it's 2 years. We got right. Wasn't 2023 when we got season one
Yeah,
of
that's what I
yeah,
mean. Is like TV shows once they it's a really big ball ache getting them off the ground and putting everything together. But once you have that foundation and everybody's on that wavelength, because it's all about making sure them actors are committed. You need to align everybody's schedules together. You need to put all the props. Everybody just needs to be in that rotating wheel and stuff. But once that ball is rolling, like they can just keep pumping these out every 2 years, like clockwork.
absolutely. Yeah. And it's the thing where, dude, I I'll watch it, but that's not The Last of Us. And I know that sounds so gatekeepy or whatever, but like I want to see those, I want to see those characters in the game, man. I want to experience that. But, the show is really good and
Uh-huh.
it'll continue to be really good. Uh but yeah, I don't want it to ever replace the game. So, and that's kind of my overall take. But yeah, man. Season 2, episode 1. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the future of the show and all of that good stuff. This is Game and Ramble. We appreciate you for tuning in. And I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to review every single episode. I might kind of bundle some together, review episode 2 and 3, episode 4 and 5. I don't know. We'll see how it all pans out whenever we get in here and we're able to record. If this does incredibly well and you want to see reviews of every single episode, just let us know and we'll do whatever the hell you want us to do. So just let us know in the comments below. And
Oh, mighty algorithm.
absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing a review of every episode. It's a fucking great show. I don't mind watching it. So yeah, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of the show and if you want to see more of these reviews. So take it easy, guys. We'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
See you later. All right, let's do it.
My dumbass forgot to provide a link in the comment or in the description
For
for,
the
oh
Star Wars.
boy, did you see the views on that?
For what?
The Star Wars videos fucking
I don't
going to
have
the
I
moon.
don't have a chance to have a look at anything.
I guess that's true. Yeah, right when I was finishing that, I had the thought, I was like, oh shit, I forgot to provide a link. Um,
Well, look now. I expect 30,000.
no, it's not that, but I think it'll be our top performing video for the last little bit. Oh, it doesn't show yet. You
Oh,
know how
that's
some,
nice, at least.
yeah, it feels nice to see something that's like, we kind of flew by the seat of our pants there, but yeah, it's always nice whenever you you're iffy about something and then it does well. It's like okay, it's kind of confirmation that okay, cool, cool.
Wow,
So
that Deus Ex video really did bomb.
it bombed awful, and I was like, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever I put that Deus Ex thumbnail on there, I was like, ooh, that's a bad motherfucker. The gold and the white blending into the black backdrop with the.
I think people hate Adam Jensen. They have an agenda against him. Come on, man, he never asked for this.
I swear. Um,
Ah, damn.
yeah, dude. It's all right. So hopefully some people hop in and I'm hoping that doesn't look like no. It doesn't look like I'm saying that we have the trailer, 20-minute video, a new Star Wars game has been officially announced. That sounds like you would expect that to be someone commenting about the game, not like
Have a
because I don't
look.
ever want to do the clickbait thing where people think it's a trailer that we have or some shit.
No, you put officially announced
Okay, yeah.
and stuff. New Star Wars game has been officially announced.
Dot dot dot. Star Wars Zero
You
Company.
provided the link as to where you got the information. I think that covers bases.
Yeah, fuck it, we'll just leave it. And if someone says like, "Hey, I could maybe do like Star Wars Zero Company, our thoughts on the game or our hopes for the game."
No, go with the officially announced.
Okay.
It is
All
a
right.
breaking news.
Yeah, that's true.
They've not
Okay.
shown anything on us. It's not. It would be different if it was the show, like all of the information out there. Then it would be our thoughts on it. We don't know anything other than it exists.
Sure, sure. Yeah. But right now it's 20 views ahead of our best performing video we've done in the last 10, so
You heard it here first, long form folk. We're hitting it out of the park.
Shit, we are
20 views,
absolutely not.
baby.
We went through some real fucking low points to get there to we're trying to figure out the format, man. We're really trying, but it's gonna I think at the end of the day we're having fucking fun, enjoying it, and we're also like I don't know. I like the grind a little bit. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I like some of that. Oh shit, something just broke. Let's hit that shit. Like that feels, I don't know, it just feels nice to be on the ball like that.
Yeah. They delayed another thing. What is wrong with limited run?
No
What
way.
the hell's going on? They delayed all my Yakuzas. The
Oh my
actual fuck.
God.
Huh? What's wrong with you? Right. Regardless. Up next, it
Oh,
is the.
well, my friend, we uh we got some more news.
Okay.
I mean, we ain't got to cover this. We can just talk about it here with the long form people real quick. Assassin's
I'll
Creed
be
Shadows.
I'll be the judge of that.
Ah!
But go on.
Assassin's Assassin's Creed Shadows is the second best-selling game of the year in the United States so far.
Yep, doesn't surprise me.
I guess it's not like.
I didn't mean to be
But
like that's not worthy of like talking about. It's the thing of like people love to sit there and flame it. They've done it with every Assassin's Creed release. People are like, oh Valhalla, crap game, trash, and then it like sold like hotcakes. It's like,
bro,
yeah,
if I'm being honest, I don't even want to cover that. Like I don't want to deal with the comments of
you want to
somebody
poke the hornet's nest? Ubisoft?
somebody calling me
Kill.
wokey for the fucking thousandth time. It's like, dude. It's such a bummer where I leave all of my political beliefs out of everything. Like you've never once heard a single political belief of mine on this channel once, ever, ever. But like I have to hear somebody else's every single day in the comment section, like just for trying to cover games. And it, yeah. Anywho, I don't want to jump back into that fucking hornet's nest because Dragon Age was that was brutal, dude. That was hell on earth. Because the thing about it's the bummer, you can't just like mute a video whenever you're on the YouTube Studio app. Like I would just like to mute the comment section. Like you can post them all day long. I don't care about that. But like so every single new comment that's posted, I have to see that even if I'm trying to reply to comments on another video that's not about that at all. So like I just want to reply to the comments from our community who are like chilling, wanting to have cool conversation about games. But every single, I have to see all of the go woke, go broke, you fucking libtard. It's like, God, dog. And
Some
the
people
thing
are
is,
just oh
like, I
go.
don't even necessarily, I, I do disagree, but I don't necessarily yeah, there is a certain fucking line for these companies where it's like, hey, dude, maybe don't try to push your fucking political agenda down someone's throat whenever half of your audience doesn't feel the way you feel. And like from a
Oh.
from hold on, from a business standpoint, it is kind of fucking stupid. I'm not saying that I think creators should be limited. I think creators should create whatever the fuck they want to create and then they can deal with the consequences. But from a business standpoint, yeah, it's not bright to be like, hey, we're gonna fucking make a you know what I mean?
So my thoughts on that, I guess the longer form people, as usual, you're getting extra stuff. My thoughts on that is, I think everybody's just so much like, what's like the perfect wording for this? Because I don't want to like offend anybody, but it's just soft. Because this is the thing, especially with Dragon Age. That's why it annoyed me so much that it was getting flamed. It was one of the first games that pushed like homosexuality in games. Like it's always been an open book. It's always mimicked real life agenda, what's going on, and then placing that in a fantasy setting. And that's what really drove me insane is when I saw comment. It doesn't bother, like, yeah, it was heavy handed in Veilguard. A few of them things. They could have done it a little bit better. They've not worked out like the writing. But when people turn around and go, oh, it's ruined and gone from a game that was once this and now is this, it's like you didn't play it then. You didn't read what was going on there. You didn't pay attention to what the characters were saying.
Right.
Because in Veilguard they had not Veilguard, sorry, in Origins they had these themes. In Dragon Age 2 they had these themes. In Inquisition they had these themes. So that's the thing that really pissed me off when we had that and people like sitting there just lighting flames up underneath it. Because it's like you're not fans. Like I'm sorry, like you saying, like you don't want to be like the person to gatekeep, but you haven't played the games. Then that's the only way that I can like envision it. Or you didn't pay attention. That's the only two avenues of that.
Yeah.
You didn't get
And
invested, so you didn't read what the notes and the characters were saying to you, and you were just playing it for the gameplay. And to just be like, "Oh, I slew a dragon in a fantasy game," kind of thing, just autopiloting it. So that's what
totally.
pissed me off.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't give a shit. Like me personally, I have some of my best friends are they've never voted fucking Democrat in their life. They never will. Just talking U.S. politics. They never have. They never will. Some of my other friends have never voted Republican in their life. They never have. They never will. I want to hear everyone's viewpoint. I don't give a fuck personally. Like, I think the iron sharpens iron. Like, I want to hear your point. And then if it makes me question my point, then I have some real questioning of myself to do. Like, I need to really think
Which is
about
what politics is. That's and
what.
it's gone away from that. That's the thing. It's silenced the opposition. That's not politics.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with everything. Like you're meant to be able to critically think about these types of things and then spurn a conversation about it. But it's just become yeah, it's become out of hand, in all honesty.
Absolutely. Well, I guess enough fucking
So we
political
won't poke that hornet's
nonsense.
nest.
Yeah, it's just it's a lot to deal with, dude. I mean, I know you don't give a fuck. I I give more of a fuck than I should, if I'm being honest. Like it does kind of bother me a little bit. Um, it doesn't bother me. It you just have to deal with it so much. Like if I could just not see those comments, like I don't care. Like I just like talking to the community and yeah, I love talking to the community when they disagree with me, but not about woke or anti-woke or like, dude, fucking I don't care. I don't care at all. Let's talk about video games and have fun conversations. Because, like, I had a couple thoughts that hit me about Shadows, where it's like, okay, well, what is the thing that really made it sell well? What do you think about Hexe? How do you think that one's going to perform? Because it doesn't have the feudal Japan ties. Feudal Japan is a great set. Like, there's so many things where we can get into fun, good video game conversation. And, like, are you big into the business of games? Like, I love the business of games. I love seeing how things perform and what players gravitate towards. And like, have you seen
um,
Schedule One?
no.
It is fucking crazy. It's this new game that looks like absolute dog shit, but it's a drug dealing simulator and it's beating Monster Hunter Wilds on Steam.
I time to piss off the PC audience. They really do just gravitate towards like
Weird shit.
weird shit that like I find perplexing, like the repo game as well, where
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
that and
Repo's another
like
one.
I think a lot of that is spurned from Twitch propping them games up. You usually get
Mm,
like a Twitch audience, and then a lot of Twitch's audience is inherently PC players. It feels like because then they will go out and buy them games, especially as they're not on console. A lot of them games anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I don't keep as tight of a tracking on that kind of stuff.
yeah.
It's exhausting.
On the business side of things,
Yeah, I used
I
to.
mean, I get it.
I used to be a lot more interested in it. It just became depressing after a while, if I'm being honest. Just seeing how much. What would bum me out is seeing stuff like spiders and stuff say how
Hmm.
badly they're struggling.
Yep.
Even though you as the player and you as the audience and fans of that series, you're like, man, that was a really good like attempt. That was a really good entry. That's really awesome to see. Like, you can see gradual improvements, and they turn around and go, yeah, we're drowning though.
Yeah,
And it's just
right.
like, I don't want to hear that because that makes me sad. Like, I
Yep.
would rather prefer to be partially tone deaf on that and just try to enjoy it for what it is.
That makes total sense, man. I hear you on that.
Because that's what
Um,
really bummed. Like, I even thought, like, because it preys on the guilt of you. I felt genuinely guilty that I sat there and trumpeted The Sinking City when it first came out, and then finding out that they never got paid at all after all them
mhm.
years, that their publisher screwed them over, that they were being forced to basically strong on and be like, yeah, we want to use your engine for Sherlock Holmes games. We want to take that. We want to take that and just overgrab. And it's just like
Yeah,
I feel like and that yeah, it made me feel genuinely guilty. That's why when we spoke about it, I was like, make sure you buy this next gen update because if there's any next gen update that deserves to be purchased, it's that because they never received a penny from the original Sinking City. They didn't get paid shit for that game.
it's so crazy, dude. Yeah, it can definitely be depressing trying to keep up with all that shit. Um, well, I guess I think that that's kind of it for news so far, and I guess we can hit the topics, um, and then bounce out of here unless anything else breaks.
It was good.
Um, so which topic did you want to hit first?
I think I've got mine lined up because it was on top of the document first. So it should be Sinking
Perfect,
City, right? Yep.
perfect, perfect.
Alrighty. So Zoom's already running, so I don't need to worry about that. This is side by side, right?
Yeah, with the full trailer rolling over us.
Yep. Sounds good. All right,
Cool.
German's counting.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Howdy, ho ho ho, everybody. Today we are talking video game adaptations. We're talking about the films, the TV shows, whatever the hell we want to be
Hey,
adapted.
don't overlook books like that. How dare you? Books
We
as well. Give them
we
a good
don't
shout.
we don't talk about books in this household. But yeah, Loon, you hit me with this topic where you're like, "Hey, what do you want to see a video game of? What
Hmm.
is the IP that you want to see adapted into video game form?" And I hit you with a few. You hit me with a few, and we're gonna hit the audience with a few that we want to see adapted. So, dude, I'll kick it to you first. What is the first thing you would love to see made into a video
Oh,
game?
I should have been better prepared. Hold on. I'm not gonna pause it because it's right over there.
Uh-oh. Loon's he always gonna go do some digging. So we got some live investigative journalism on my part. What are we seeing here on the screen before you? You have a physical copy of something here that Loon is about to display to the world. At the Mountains of Madness, Volume 2, some Lovecraft horror.
You see how fucking big this thing is as well? Look at that.
That is sick. That
Library
artwork's sick.
edition, baby. Right. So, huge Lovecraft fan, at least of his work, not him personally. He wasn't the nicest man to
I
live.
heard that.
But let's separate the art from the artist. Just want to get that off the chest. Make sure everyone knows that I'm not a racist. Right. um. So, b- hadn't been exposed to his work early on. per se. So it's one of them things where I I would probably say the Sinking City was like the first plunge that I took whenever that first released, and it was like, ooh. Oh no, no, Bloodborne before that. Sorry, kind of scratched that itch, and it was just like, ooh, I kind of like this cosmic horror, and obviously knew of Lovecraft, but never like went out and was like, yeah, I'll read his books and stuff like that. It's just not something that I thought about like say 10 years ago. How times change. So the Sinking City came out, and it was like, ooh, this is really good, but they're just missing something. And then played Call of Cthulhu, and it was like, man, this is really good, but you're just missing something. And the big thing is that I understand that it's meant to be you, it's a struggle of perception and stuff. So kind of showing the monster ruins it. I don't know, man. Like only showing Cthulhu for literally like 2 seconds is criminal. So what I'll do is I'll run that trailer and I can just talk. That's as you saw, Volume 2. So what I did was I actually read Call of Cthulhu last year in that same format of that library edition book. This company makes really good high quality books, really beautifully illustrated. And I actually finished, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, I finished At the Mountains of Madness, Volume 1. I've not begun Volume 2 yet, but when I was sitting there, like, reading through it, all I could think about was, like, how good of a game adaptation that this would make. In the same vein as, have you played the Council?
That's the like the kind of choose your own adventure style game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either that or, because that's what I'm thinking of, like, if you wanted to like not have any combat-esque kind of stuff like that and you wanted to slow it down. But I think they're onto something with the sinking city at the same time though. I think what this needs to be is um hmm. so at the Mountains of Madness, it's not set in like a town like the original Sinking City was.
Is it
It's
surrounded by water?
it's basically they go to like Antarctica, basically. And it's where the setting is, it's basically technology hasn't advanced enough for them to, like we can now, we can just fly there, for instance, and get to the very
Hmm.
top and we know what's all there. So how the story portrays itself is there's uncharted territory. It's so difficult for human life to get to that point that there's this entire civilization that's built there, and that's the story of it, that there are a bunch of explorers, they find these fossils, they find these remnants of places, and where that first volume ends is essentially the group arrive at this ruin, and there's a massive hole leading into like an abyss, and they're choosing to go down there. And that's what I like. I'm sitting there thinking like, man, this would make such a really good game, like really good game.
So
Like it
like,
doesn't even need combat. There's no pulse pounding combat sections. It's all just intrigue. It's they have all these different teams in different planes going further and further. They make a base camp. Then they find a bit of remnants and then they move on and stuff. And then something really bad happens.
oh,
So you lose contact with one of your teams, and that's why they're pushing forward because they're basically like, that's very strange. And what they're doing is they're relaying this back to the world because they're reporters
bro,
basically. So they're turning around and he puts his hand on like the mic and basically is like, we can't tell them like shit's gone sideways. Just tell them that we found them and we just have to roll with this. So they basically
dude,
feed partial lies, partial truths. And that's the intrigue. They get to that thing and it's like it's limitless possibilities as to where the story can go. Like it's so incredibly well crafted. And that's the thing that he builds. And the thing that was missing in Call of Cthulhu for me, it's so much shorter of a story, Call of Cthulhu. It felt kind of rushed. I'm so glad that this is in two parts because it's given that really slow build up, time to breathe, where it's not impacted the other half of the story, hopefully.
bro,
So
you know what I was thinking? Like, what if it was all the video game was all done with like live foot or not live footage, but like you're pretty much watching a recording
Hmm.
the entire time or something where it's like kind of shaky cam and you're seeing things through the eyes of a recording or something to the because you remember Tomb Raider 2013 where it was all the whole setup was it was like this reality show of sorts at the beginning of the game before shit goes totally crazy. Um See, I don't know, dude. That idea of like Indiana Jones, obviously less combat, but that Lara Croft, Indiana Jones exploration focused horror, like that is that yeah, that's really intriguing to me. Maybe have like parkour elements, Dying Light-esque, not totally to that outlandish degree, but where you're able to
Um,
kind of
I think you could like what you said with Tomb Raider 2013 because it's all ice in at the Mountains of Madness. It's a complete ice cap. So you could have like being able to climb that and stuff. But the thing is like I said, it's also what you got to keep in mind is much
oh,
further in the
dude.
past. It's like the I don't know, like 1930s roughly kind of thing, like that kind of time setting. So technology is extremely limited and stuff like that, and they don't have weapons on them, and that's what makes the story interesting. Is that if anything happens, they're gonna have to really like think on their feet as to how they would get out of the situation and stuff. But it's just some of the parts that he wrote in that are just very like you feel stuff going on, even though like you're just reading it. And that's like the beauty of a great author and stuff like that is that he's described it perfectly to a T, the scenario that you can imagine in your brain, where they're like they've discovered these things and they have the like the sledge dogs that help them take stuff back and
Ah,
forth.
yeah,
They've
yeah.
had to put them like hundreds of meters away from the camp because they're driving themselves insane because they have a greater sense of smell. So when they've uncovered these Lovecraftian things, fossils and stuff, they can smell a lot more than what the humans can. So it's driving them nuts and just stuff like that. And it's just, yeah, it's so beautifully crafted.
Well, dude, my my idea for what I want adapted is uh, quite the transition from Cthulhu and Lovecraftian style, yeah, horror. I'm talking dazed and confused, my friends. For those of you who will take yourself back to the Matthew McConaughey debut, the movie that made, I don't know if it was officially his debut, but it was the movie that made him a star. And so here's my thing. I have always wanted a game about nothing. A game where there truly is just no point. And you think to like The Sims, and then you got that upcoming Enzoy game that kind of taps into that feeling where there's not a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you would need a beginning, a middle, and an end to some degree with this. Like I think it should be a single player, somewhat narrative driven experience, and then roll credits on it and all that. But I would want this to be something where there is no quest log, there is no okay, here's what you got to do by the end of this day. It's like here are your days, and you do what you want to do. And if you technically roll credits, cool, you rolled credits, but it's not an accomplishment. It's not the point of the game. The point of the game is to just exist. And this movie is one of the only movies I've ever watched in my life where I truly get the feeling of I'm a fly on the wall just watching characters exist. They don't feel like they're
Mm.
performing for me. They feel like they're performing for each other. They feel like they're talking to one another. They're existing in their own world, and I am just getting a bird's eye view into their world. And I love that, man. I think that the Quarry, actually, I know that's a weird example, but the Supermassive game, I thought they did a really good job of that. This sort of teen camp thing, and they it felt like you were just a fly on the wall watching people engage with one another. And that's such a rare thing in games where it feels like games are often trying to perform to you as the player.
Yep.
Everything's catered around you as the player. You're the hero. You're the and it's like I don't know, just exist in a world. um and I don't like I if you want to get from point A to point B, I think that could be fine, but when I watch that movie Dazed and Confused, I look at that arcade scene with they're in the pool hall and there's all the arcades. It's like I would love to play a game where we just hop in a car, you pick where you go, and if you go to the arcades, there's like more lore and backstory there where, oh, there's Timmy, he's the master of pinball, so you get to go and challenge Timmy on the damn pinball machine. Oh, there's Tommy, he's the master of the pool table, you get to go and challenge Tommy at some pool. And then, I'm horrible with remembering names, but the main character of Dazed and Confused is kind of a smaller kid. He's a freshman and he's getting like picked on by the seniors. Like Ben Affleck's a major asshole in the movie, and he's got this wooden fucking, the wooden thing that they used to spank kids with back in the day. That
Oh, the paddles.
the paddles, yeah. And so he's got this paddle and he's just chasing down freshmen, just popping them bitches. And so like that's a mini game, escaping the seniors. And but also the freshman is a baseball player, and that's how he kind of gets integrated in with the popular kids of the older classes because he's good at baseball. And so like a mini game is going and playing a game of baseball and I don't know, probably just simple QTEs or whatever.
Do you know what this sounds like? It sounds
What's
like you
that?
just want Bully 2, my friend. That's what this
Bro.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Bully 2,
Yeah.
we in college now.
Yeah. Dude, you're not wrong. Like at the end of the day, that is just kind of what I want. I just kind of want bully. It bums me out so much that dude, you nailed that because that is really one of the only games as well where you just feel like you're existing. Like it's sure there's a beginning and a middle and an end, but it's really not the point. It's going to class, it's taking the tests, it's seeing if you can ace the fucking English test, going into PE, doing the wrestling. Like, yeah,
That's
at the
why
end of the day.
you have such a fondness for like Lost Judgment, I imagine
Hmm.
then,
Yeah.
because it kind of bridges that want and desire for a bully too, because he goes undercover at a school, right?
Yep.
And you have the mini games and stuff, and there's stuff going on in there. So,
It's really my love for mini games more than anything, where it's
mm.
like Judgment is great, but Lost Judgment is so much more my speed because it's like, oh, now I'm gonna go and be a part of a robotics class. Oh, now I'm gonna go and be a part of a biker club. Oh, now I'm gonna go and be a boxer. And it's like, fuck yeah, dude, that's my shit. Having fully fleshed out mini games like that. They could kind of be their own game. Yeah, it's you're totally right. That's definitely why I want this to exist, but I do want it to exist. So Dazed and Confused, that's going to be my my first pick. And I just think it's such a good name, Dazed and Confused. Imagine seeing that on a box, like some silly high schoolers hanging out the side of a car window on the box. Like there's a good sell. There's some like orange and yellow colors. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, not a film I've seen. So that you writing that down, I was like, oh, okay. Because
Dude.
you changed what was on that list. I thought it was going to be other stuff.
Oh yeah. Well,
So
the
yeah,
thing
you
I
Uno reversed me.
for some background, Loon and I share a documents app. That way he can prepare the trailers and stuff. He does all the production work for us. And so I had Bad Boys on there, but I've already talked about wanting a Bad Boys game on the channel before. I remember we did some video and because I looked back and I had Martin Lawrence on the thumbnail for it. And so I was like, well, let me not talk about Bad Boys again. I fucking love Bad Boys. I'd kill for a Bad Boys video game. But yeah, we'll go with Dazed and Confused first up.
Right. So this is my second title, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me just get that rolling. Right. So sticking in the realm of reading, um, hey, this has a TV show as well. It did well enough. I don't know if they're getting greenlit for like more. The writer is in hot water at the moment, and it's Neil
Oh
Gaiman
boy.
with Sandman. Have you
Mm.
heard of Sandman?
Yeah, of course. Spider-Man's nemesis.
Alrighty then. Not that one, I'm afraid. This is much more dark and yeah, I don't even know like how you like describe it briefly. It's a very, very dark and cryptic story where it blends together because I believe it's DC. Because Constantine is that
Yeah,
John
I think that
Constantine? Is that
is.
DC?
I believe so.
So he is in that universe, which means that it falls under the frame of DC. And I've been reading through the first omnibus, and I'm almost done with it.
Nice.
And the range of stories that go on in that series is so bizarre. Like he has almost like a fighting battle in hell with demons
Oh,
to get his
Jesus.
powers back. So to summarize it, he is the god of like dreams, basically. So his whole power is that he possesses a dream world and he's able to like manipulate things. His sister is deaf and stuff like that. So it's all like embodiments of different gods and stuff. And he somehow gets captured. So he loses all of his like magical gear and stuff, and it ends up falling to one of the demons in hell. So he ends up going there and basically like battling wits with this demon to get it back and stuff like that. And it's just it would make for such an intro. If there's ever going to be a game that could pull off like episodic structure, I think it would be a Sandman game because it wouldn't be like how would you describe it? It would try to mimic the way the comics present the stories, where it's completely different stories bit by bit. So you self-contain it. Maybe you can wrap that story up in 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, and then episode two and stuff like that. Because it doesn't stall them stories. Like they're constantly moving forward. New things are happening. Massive things are happening. So I've it's a series that I've fallen in love with. I haven't seen the TV show yet, so I'm not sure how they've adapted it. But it's something that really like the council would be the perfect like counterpart to it. Um, Probably
What do
more
you
so than the Lovecraft.
what do you think in like aesthetic kind of Dante's Inferno, or is it more of a cell shaded? Like how do you envision this playing out like a
So
comic?
let me go grab it quickly. I'm
All
sorry,
right.
I'm a show and tell kind of person,
No, you're good.
but
I'll
it has a
talk while
very
you.
distinct art style that would be very hard to like describe.
Yeah, I'll talk about what I was thinking while you. So I was thinking Dante's, just based on the way Loom was describing it, I was thinking like a Dante's Inferno, really dark, but also I don't know if like poppy is the right word. Like not dark to the point where it's depressing, where you still have like this, I don't know, high octane action feel to what's going on. Um, and it's not just totally like I was thinking not Scorn level dark, something a little bit more palatable. But we'll see exactly what the visual presentation's looking like here with the
Right, this is huge. Like these are
hmm,
big boys. So this is what I mean. It's packed in tons of story, but the art style. Let's try it. Find something like it's very grim. I'm hoping it picks up. You can kind of see his face. It's very like
yeah.
it's very
And
pronounced.
do you have one of the world that they're inhabiting, or
There would be. Hold on.
because I was thinking like I'm not I'm assuming it's not like Scorn levels of like fleshy, grotesque. Oh, it is. Okay, okay, so it's more Scorn.
Do you see him?
Yeah. Okay.
So it is very, very adult, I guess is the way that like they're not shy with
Right.
anything. And the only way you would be able to pull it off is in the comic book shade of thing. I wouldn't want it done like in an agony art style where it's like
Mm.
pushing and scorn, where it's like realistic, fleshy. I don't think that that would be very, very appealing. But like
You
something like
think
the council, where it's you can see it's hand drawn kind of stuff, but it's very beautifully animated and stuff like that. I think that could be
okay.
really good because I don't think they tried Web of Weird. where it genuinely one to one basically the comic book style when it doesn't flow well
Right. Hellboy.
because of the game was not only bad but just even the art style just didn't I don't know it didn't flow well in the sense of a game.
Yeah. It's because I was thinking like would a Wolf Among Us visual presentation work, but like a really dark ass sort of comic book look like
Yeah, you
that?
could you could get away with that.
Okay.
You could get
Okay.
away with that. And even in that style, like I think that style of game as well, where because it's not something where it would be pulse pounding action. It's not going to be like a
Right.
Wolverine and stuff. A lot of
Oh,
the stuff
okay.
that he does is he's outsmarting people, or he gives somebody a deal that they think is favorable. They think they've backed him into a corner, and it's actually he's always got many more hands to play. So yeah,
Well, my friend, once again, pivoting completely in the opposite direction for my second choice. Um, I it's crazy to me that we don't have a good Fast and Furious game. Like I think that is actually criminal. A film series that has been going on for what over 20 years now
yeah.
and not one. Like they've had so many attempts at games, not a single good one. And I was also thinking names. Fast and Furious is such a great name. Dazed and Confused is such a great name. Names that are quick to the point on the box, you buy them, boom. And like I just it's to me it's such a simple cheap formula as well. To make a good Fast and Furious game is not going to be this expensive, arduous task. It's remake that first movie in game form
Hmm.
and you go undercover and instead of sleeping dog style high octane action, you race. Like it's pretty damn simple. And sure, you got to pad it out a bit. You got to turn it into an 8 hour game. So you go on some side investigation missions for, trying to go undercover and uncover some secret, shady operations that are going on. Report back to your police chief and fucking make some extra cash that way. You go in and you participate in extra street races for some extra cash that way. And it's like, there's an in-game economy you can go and it's the thing where you wouldn't even necessarily have to just do a one-to-one remake of the film if you didn't want to use Paul Walker. Like I could understand something being a little bit fucky there where it's like, yeah, do you really want to I don't know. It would be up to his family obviously. But like create a character. Go in Fast and Furious at this point, Fast and Furious is just a fucking name.
Hmm.
Like
They're not street
it's not
races
even
anymore, that's for sure.
no, absolutely not. So if you wanted to go in and create your own character and like have a little, 12-hour Fast and Furious RPG where you're doing exactly that, and you can get out of the car at certain points, go into a few shops, get out the car, do some you're tailing people, kind of like an LA Noir to a certain degree. Where not that level of in-depth investigation, of course, because they're going to be putting the majority of the resources towards the driving, but where you have to do a little bit of investigative work, get out on foot a little bit before you hop back into car. You maybe have a couple combat encounters throughout the game, maybe 10 of them max that take a few minutes. Just simple mechanics, triangle to parry, square to punch, go up stealth, take down a couple people. Like just a little bit of sprinkle of variety in there 8 to 12 hours, get an 82 Metacritic score, and finally get a somewhat fucking decent Fast and Furious game.
No, that is an interesting take because what I was originally perceiving it would be the perfect thing is, you know, just take it literally back to Need for Speed's roots, full motion
Right.
video and stuff like that. But then you're talking about like leaving the car and stuff, dude. Mad Max.
Yeah.
That's all you need to make is just Mad Max. Um, that's it's shown that a game can have good hand-to-hand combat and good vehicle driving. So I think you could easily figure that out. So
Yeah. Give it to fucking Avalanche. Like, let the literal Mad Max team make it. I mean, that's a great idea. They have great fucking driving, great physics. And great like yeah, that's a and great shooting. Like that the team is actually really fucking good. They just don't sell particularly well.
Yep. They
Um
have the Deus Ex curse.
right, yeah, exactly. But yeah, Fast and Furious, man, just make it. Like $50 million. Give someone a $50 million budget and say you can't fucking go over $50 million. We're giving it to a European developer. If you can make Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 for 40 mil, bitch, you if you can't fucking get in there and create 12 hours of decent Fast and Furious content for a video game for $50 million and Kingdom Come can be released for 40, there's something wrong with this universe.
And speaking of the universe, next up, Dune, baby. Um,
Oh
so
boy.
obviously it's a series that's kind of grown on people. People are getting more and more exposed to it. They obviously did the reboot films with Zendaya.
Yep.
Don't know who else was.
Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, that was it. Timothy Chalamet, Jason Momoa.
Yeah, oh
Um,
yeah.
so there's good heavy hitter actors. The films grossed very well.
Yeah.
The games, however, that they've put out, a little bit hit or miss. We had Imperium, I think it was called, card game that came out recently. You had Spice Wars, which was kind of a mimicky kind of thing of Civilization. And then you obviously had the Dune Awakening, which is upcoming. What I'm hoping, like, if you could get anything for a Dune game, would be it's perfect because it links. I ended up replacing the Dune Awakening for a Mad Max trailer, so it ties into what we said about Mad Max. I just want to see like exploring the worlds of Dune in that way
Exactly.
and having like it doesn't have to be. This is the thing. Like we both enjoyed Mad Max. It was never a narrative powerhouse,
No.
but it was just enjoyable to play through. And I think that would be really, really cool of going in using the vehicles that are in Dune and stuff like that. Maybe visiting different planets. Even like a Star Wars Outlaws would be a cool thing. Like visiting different planets in Dune because it has such deep, intricate, like political things going on in that universe
Yep.
that they really like when they're doing them in the movies, they have to cram them in so condensed to the point where it's astonishing that they even get a lot of that story beat out of it because of how much they're having to cut down and be very, very brief with. So expanding that out into like a 20, 30 hour game of like several planets and dealing with different factions and different religious takes and stuff like that, I think that could be really, really cool. It doesn't even have to be like a retelling of the Atreides stuff with Paul. It could be anything. Like you could play as like the clan Harkonnen and stuff like that. There's tons of different factions that just remain untouched, like big time, that I think could be really interesting for a game setting.
It's a license to print money. Like, if you make a single player, like you said, a Star Wars Outlaws, a Hogwarts Legacy, Mad Max, like if you make a single player open world Doom game, you are going to the bank. Like, it is going to sell like hotcakes. People are craving because we're out of the Marvel craze. We're out of the Star Wars craze. And like this is probably the next big hit IP that's on the market right now. Like I can't think of anything else that is hitting quite like this is hitting. There might be something that I'm overlooking, but this thing was huge, dude. And yeah, it's you could create your own character, pick
Yep.
your faction, pick your skill set, have an RPG
Yeah.
made out of it.
I think that's the best way of doing it because each house has their own like strengths and weaknesses. And just oh man, there's so untapped potential. You could like cyberpunk that baby and do like origins openings. Like if you want to play as like the Benny Gesserit and stuff like that and do all that stuff. Oh, that would be so cool. Shadow of the Colossus, that thing with the massive dune worms. Like you're just flying out there and then it's just yeah, every now and then that can happen. Man, that
Yeah,
would
dude.
yeah. That unfortunately, I don't think you would be able to condense that down into like a 50 million budget. That would be something
No.
that would be earth-shattering levels of budget, and I don't know. It has a massive pool with fans of the books and fans of movies. I don't know if they've done enough to branch off into gaming to spend that much budget and get that much recouped. It would be if they were to start off with this and it was actually going to happen, you'd have to be a lot more condensed and then get ambitious with the sequel, like build up anticipation and expectation.
I know that this might not be smart, but like BioWare tackling a Dune game, I know that they are incredibly expensive and it's tough to get games out the door for under a couple hundred mil for them, which I think you probably need a couple hundred mil for this game. This is one of those rare instances where it's probably worth a couple hundred mil to put into
Yep.
it. Um, who else could even tackle this thing? Like, you don't really want to put a spiders on it. You don't really want to
No.
put like somebody who can hit you with a B tier. You want to fucking top notch.
BioWare probably would be the best. Second best. If you're talking about like limiting yourself and putting restrictors on that first game, Obsidian would probably be the second best.
Obsidian would be great.
And then, yeah, how you would
Yeah,
like handle that sequel of like blowing that up into like it would be the Jedi Fallen Order to Survivor thing of where it's
totally.
massive leaps in expanding out. So
Yeah. Hell, man, maybe. Ooh, let's say, what if Fable comes out and is incredible, and Playground kind of makes their own little RPG wing, and could they possibly? Because I mean, once again, talking about vehicles and anything in that realm, if they are able to parlay their talent for vehicle creation and the maneuverability of, different whatever, whether it's aircraft or
it's funny because I've not seen the newer films yet. I'm waiting for them to all come out because there's a part three, I believe, coming out. Um, so all of my knowledge is from the old like 70s films. So you're talking about yeah vehicles, and I'm just thinking of some of that goofy animation of where they it's just like yeah man, that would be so good. Oh
dude. But shit, yeah, man. I would love to see that, and I think that that has to happen because that MMO, sure, people are gonna play it, people are gonna like it, it's gonna probably be decent, but uh, people,
yeah,
people.
it needs to be a Crimson Desert, Black Desert thing. Like do that Black Desert like MMO thing, and then bam, there we go, baby. Dune.
Man. I don't know if you've seen all, and we ain't got to get into this, but that team is building their own engine because they're like, there's no other engine that's capable of doing what we want for Crimson Desert.
The earlier like leaked benchmarks are like fairly strong as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. It's like, damn, you guys have like made a fairly stable product. Like I didn't think that that was possible. I thought this was going to come out and be like sub 30,
Yeah.
struggling. Obviously,
I'll
it's still time to tell, but
I'll have
they
to see
look
it to
like they're
believe it.
cooking.
Yeah,
They
I'll
look
have to
like they're
see it to believe
cooking.
it, but man, I'm really, really hoping. I'm hoping. I'm so hoping. All right, so we're now on my third, correct?
Third and final.
Third and final. Okay. So let's just end it with a quick bang. Heels. This is a wrestling television show that I think debuted on Hulu and it got picked up for a season two. And then the pandemic happened and a bunch of like funding was pulled. They ended up pretty much shutting up shop and then Netflix bought the rights to it. So there's still a pulse, hopefully, for Heels, but there is no season three. Netflix has not renewed a season three yet. I don't know what's happening. I hope we get it. It is the best wrestling television show of all time. I'll even say it's probably the best wrestling product of all time, like in terms of any movie, even including Mickey Rourke's The Wrestler, even include like, well, it depends on what you want. If you want fun, lighthearted, something you can chill, watch with someone who's not really into wrestling and just get a cool drama, some cool, you know, kind of tension with relationships and marital issues, and then also building an independent wrestling company and trying to put on good matches, build feuds, some of the feuds from the ring parlaying to out of the ring, and like it's just a really, really fun show. And if I could have anything, I would probably just pick for a season three to be on TV, to be on Netflix, whatever it may be, because I want to see Stephen Amell and I want to see this cast come back because they truly, from all the interviews I've heard, they love working on it. Um, but if you can't do that, get that cast in, get them motion captured, and let's do a fucking season three in game form. I can't sit here and say I have a ton of like built in I don't have a ton of reason to give you for this one other than I just want to see the plot progress. It
I just
ended on
want it.
I think there could be some cool decision making shit because if you were put in charge of Stephen Amell's role, he's pretty much running the entire independent promotion. So if you're the one booking matches, you're the one putting together storylines, you're making like you get four choices for okay, what should main event, and there's different results based on what you pick. So okay, I pick these two to main event. The crowd doesn't necessarily feel it because the feud wasn't properly built up, and maybe you can kind of parlay it into a GM mode from SmackDown versus Raw 2006 and also combine that with a story mode that's actually, you know, with cutscenes and real stories that are going to play out throughout what you're seeing in game, but it's all based upon the decisions you make. Maybe there's something where you can blend GM mode and a Telltale style game there, and maybe you don't have any actual wrestling, or maybe the wrestling is all pre-scripted and you're just setting up the big spots that you see, but you don't actually control. I don't really know.
Or giving you windows during the match to basically be like, are you going to stick to the script or go off script? So it
Right.
does like a split, like it slows down, it goes, stick to script, go off script.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That could
classic
be.
choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could definitely do something like that. Um, listen, these are, if I'm being real, these are just three. The Fast and Furious is a business thing. Like I that's stupid. That no business, no fucking publisher has figured that out yet. Like that is actually dumb. That will print you money. The other two, Dazed and Confused and Heels, those are heart picks. So I'm gonna end with my heart.
Okay, that's good. So if you could have one, if they could, of all them three, you have to choose one. The others will never happen. I mean, mine's easy. Mine's at the Mountain of Madness. Um,
Okay.
because they've also, a fun fact about it, they've tried making that into a film several times now, and nobody can ever adapt it into a film. Nobody's figured that out yet.
That
So if
makes
I could just
sense
get a
because
game, you can't really
yeah,
convey that in like a film with it be like it's so hard to have something that slow paced be that compelling.
exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, how do you do that in 2 hours? You could do it in 15 in a game though. I okay. The best game out of those three would be Dazed and Confused.
Hmm.
Because it would be the one that's like actually breaking new ground, doing new interesting things. So I think I pick that. Business me picks Fast and Furious, and me sitting here as a human, Brandon, Sylvia, sitting in this chair right now, I personally pick Heels. So it's like, do I go with the best game, the money making game, or the just the
Oh,
game
go
that's
with your
literally
heart.
only
Go with your
Heels,
heart. There we go.
Heels, Heels? Yeah, dude, I'm in such a wrestling groove right now, Loon. Like it's bad. I'm not playing video games. Like, and I've talked on the channel so many times about, I'll always be here in the trenches, fucking gaming away till my fingers bleed, baby. And I'm out here like it's WrestleMania season. So I'm just watching wrestling like documentaries, old pay-per-views, Triple H interviews. Like it's all consuming right now. I'm so in. And, but with all that being said, guess the one thing I'm not fucking doing?
Playing wrestling games?
Watching the damn television show. I still
Oh.
don't watch Raw and SmackDown ever. I,
Oh.
I watched the
Really?
clips. Never, never. I watched the clips on YouTube after, but it's like anytime I think of sitting down for a full 3 hour wrestling show, like for a full Raw or SmackDown, I'm like, oh,
I didn't
just
know they
play
were
it.
3 hours. Jesus Christ.
They're like two sometimes, but I'm just like, dude, I'd rather play Alpha Protocol. So I can't say I haven't been playing any games. I have been playing Alpha Protocol and NFL 2K5, but yeah, not a lot of game productivity for me. So I'm going heels. You're going uh
At the
mountain
Mountains of Madness.
at the Mountains of Madness. Okay. And that's a great name too. You put that on a box,
Mm.
the mountain there, the gray text. I see it now. Yeah. I,
Yep, you
I'm
can
I'm
get
more
real creative with that spine art, cover art, everything, putting in little goodies.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, all right, guys, that's going to be it for us. That's a ramble fest about some of the games we need adapted ASAP Rocky. Let us know in the comments below what games would you like to see made from your favorite film, television show, or if you're if you're so inclined, you can do books as well. We appreciate you guys. Stick around, stay tuned. If you like fun, chill, topic based, if you like these topics, let us know about that as well. We're trying everything, seeing what sticks. So let us know what you like. If you like the topics, the fun, just shooting the shit sort of topics, let us know in the comments below, and we shall see you very soon. Goodbye.
See you later.
All right, 3 hours and 17 minutes. And yeah, this next topic shouldn't be too long, but I'm gonna hit the pisser real quick and then we'll run into that one.
I'll pause the Zoom.
Perfect.
See you in a minute, guys. Is back. Howdy, howdy, everybody.
All right. So we're on to our final topic of the show. As I said early on in the show, yeah, I don't even know if we got 2 hours of content. There goes fucking just zipping past three. So yeah. I'm checking the internet to see if there's anything breaking in the video game space, but looks like not really. Yeah. Fucking VGC, they're just retweeting old articles that they put out. They're like, bro, I don't know.
Like,
There ain't
scrape the bottom of the barrel, man. I gotta do something. Gotta gain some engagement.
nothing to talk about. No, I
Right,
feel them.
so this is gonna be side by side trailer on top, right? Or did you want it top?
N Yeah, us, you and I side by side and the trailer running on top of us.
Cool.
Yeah. The only one we'll ever do for side for vertical with the trailer beside us is for rankings and reviews.
All right. You ready?
So, okay, hold on. Before we go, am I presenting the games first or are you presenting the games first?
I think yours is first.
Okay,
Your
perfect.
three titles are stacked up, and then what we'll
Perfect.
do is if you, well, I'm not gonna spoil it for the Zoom people.
Yeah.
You get through the first title. If you then pivot to the next one, I'll then change the trailer, even if it's not done. I'll try and
Okay,
keep
well,
it.
don't roll the trailers until like we get into discussion. So
Okay.
like
So you
whenever
want
you
when we're having to actually cut and stuff like that is when okay. Yep.
exactly.
Cool.
Yep.
Alrighty. All right, you ready to go?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Howdy ho ho everybody. This is Game and Ramble, the official YouTube channel. I'm Brandon Sylvia, joined by Loon today to pick, are we going to beat it? Are we going to backlog it? Are we going to burn it? It's a new game. I came up with my old my such creativity inside of this brain that I have here, which is I pretty much stole the entire concept from start bench cut, which for any sports fans out there, you'll know that that is so it's essentially like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. You got to pick one to start, so pick one to keep, and then be like your go-to player. Pick one to bench, so it's like yeah, they're still on the team, and then pick one to cut, which is like you're gone, you know. And then so the difficulty is trying to present three somewhat comparable products. And what we're going to do here today is I got three games for Loon. He's going to pick And he's not just going to pick what he feels personally, he's also going to try to think for the audience. So
Oh.
he's so he's going to be looking at this not just his own personal bias. He's going to be looking at it like if he had to recommend these games universally to people, which one would he recommend for you all to beat? Like a game for you to, that's, high recommend. A game for you to backlog, a game that's like, yeah, that's a decently high recommendation, or a game for you to burn, where it's like, out of these three, it's the one I would recommend you drop. So, does that sound like a decent summary?
Yep, that hurts though, with what you've listed here that I can see.
Well, I guess I can go ahead and get into the games that I have on the docket for you, Loon. You ready to kick it off?
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. So the three games that Loon is going to have to pick from here today, picking one to beat, one to backlog, and one to burn. And this is his recommendation for the world. So the first game on the list is going to be Elix 1. The second game on the list is going to be Tomb Raider 2013. And the third game is going to be Disco Elysium. Now, for those of you out there who are looking at this, you're thinking, Elix 1. One of Loon's favorite games of all time is Elix 1, a game that he cherishes. So I wanted to really put his feet to the fire. He loves all of these games. And now it's just a matter of picking which he recommends for you to play immediately, which he recommends
Mm,
for you to backlog, and which he recommends for you to burn.
okay. It hurts me, but I feel like I'm fairly level-headed when stuff like this happens. So, right. All three great games. Equally great. No, 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 I can't do that. Right. So, start bench cut. Damn, man. All right.
And you can go in any order you want. There is no particular order you have to go in here.
So, what we'll do is starting. So, this is you go out and you play this right now. Disco Elysium.
Oh, okay.
I think that of them three that you listed, the reason I'm coming to that conclusion, not only just being a massive fan of the game, there's nothing quite like it. Um, Elix 1 and Tomb Raider are both great games, but you can kind of get them experiences elsewhere.
That is true.
You can't really experience the magic of Disco Elysium anywhere else. Like, to a lot of people that maybe pick it up and maybe dived into like the opening hour and like, yeah, it's not really for me. It's a game that truly grows on you. The more effort that you put into understanding and loving the product, the more it gives back to you, the player. There is
Mm,
so much in this world to give. And not only like the narrative side of that, something that I struggle to get invested in is when you tag on a companion for an entire period of game and they don't do anything or they don't feel like they have any purpose there. Kim Kitsuragi is possibly one of the best companions in any game ever
easily.
because the way they present the story is not to get into spoilers, but you have amnesia, and that's as far as I'm going to go. So he stands as your anchor point to basically keeping you within the reality of the world.
Yep.
He's like that, keeping you grounded almost. Because you can really go off on the rails, and he will let you go off the rails. He's not going to stop you. He's not going to stand in front of you and be like, no. He will let you spiral if you want to spiral, which is also great because it shows that the way they present the story and stuff, he doesn't. He's just an extreme professional at the end of the day. He's just there to do a
Yep.
job, and because you technically outrank him, even though you don't know it, he's just rolling with you because he's like, I don't really care really. At the end of it, like we'll do what we do because they're in such a disarrayed format of that world that they could just write up a random report and be done with it, even if they wanted to do that. If you were to
Yeah.
exhaust all ends and stuff like that. So definitely a start. There's
I
yeah.
I love that pick. I love that you chose that one, and I love your explanation for it because at first, when you said it, I was like, okay, as a universal recommendation, I don't know I would pick Disco Elysium for my beat it. Maybe that would be one I would pick for a backlog. It is something you need to play, you need to experience, but I don't know, is it something you need to prioritize above a game that I think, and not to get into what I think that game is, but there's a game on this list that I think is universally going to be enjoyed by pretty much everyone that plays it. I don't know that is the case with Disco Elysium, but the way you presented your argument was that you need to experience this. It is like a top priority experience you should have because it
Hmm.
is so unlike anything else. So I appreciate the angle you took with that argument there.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's the thing of it's not going to be for everybody, but there's
Exactly.
also nothing else quite like it, and that it's the thing of like because I presented that same argument of Shadows. It's not going to be for everybody, but there is other stuff like it. You
Hmm.
can't really, I wouldn't be able to argue that point of view here for that.
Totally.
Um, Disco Elysium truly is just wild in what it
It's
sets out to achieve. Like,
it's one of one.
yep. And the only time in history where not to like be like, yay, we're never getting another one, but I don't think it needed another one. It's one of them
No.
things where you would have ruined what it was. It's my same feeling with like how they did BioShock 2 and how I have that as like a thing. I don't think we needed a BioShock 2 in the way that that set out into Rapture again. I think if he would have gone to Infinite and made that BioShock 2, that would have been fine. But like Rapture was an open book and they closed it. They tied off
Closed it.
all loose ends that needed to be done. Revisiting that after showing everything that was done in that first game just felt wasted. And I think that's what would have been done with Disco Elysium. I don't think you would have been able to capture that specialty again because everything you were just on a cosmic ride of just absurdity. I don't think you
So
could recapture that.
Disco is your pick for Beat It.
Yep.
And I think that with your explanation intact, I think that makes all the sense in the world. Backlog it. The game you're going to pick for people to backlog. That is I'm so curious how much your love for something is going to factor into this.
So backlog, Tomb Raider 2013.
Okay. Okay.
There is no way in hell I'd be able to argue Tomb Raider 2013 over the other one, which we will get to, which is Elix, of course.
You like Elix more than Tomb Raider 2013 though, right? You personally?
Across the board, no.
Okay. I
I'm.
should have picked something
It's like a the hell is it? Like
pendulum
a scale kind of thing
scale.
where there are so many aspects that I do prefer in Elix that I think it does better than Tomb Raider. But Tomb Raider is just you got to remember, like I didn't play Uncharted until PS4,
Hmm.
so this was my Uncharted. So when everyone was getting wowed by Uncharted, this was my first Uncharted-esque game. And
Makes
I'm gonna say
sense.
something controversial. I think it's better than Uncharted, hands down. Them three games I think are better than Uncharted 3, but it's all down to personal taste.
So you think that the Tomb Raider reboot are better than the first
Yeah.
three Uncharted games? Yeah, yeah. I would say definitely. I'd take 2013 and I'd take all the rebooted Tomb Raider games over the first three Uncharted games, and then I would take Uncharted 4 over any Tomb Raider game.
I would struggle to make a decision bringing four into the thing. I think it
Yeah.
would turn into that Elix 2 Tomb Raider thing where it's like there's certain things that it does a lot better. But yeah, no, backlog. Tomb Raider, perfect game for a backlog because if you haven't tried it yet, it's already in your backlog.
You're right.
It's been out since 2013, guys. You've had a 12-year period. Um, yeah, it's that thing of like if you haven't played it and you enjoyed Uncharted, what are you doing? Like go treat yourself, man. Like it's not
It's
something where
incredible.
it's like you have to this is, and that's the thing of like where I was presenting that as like a viewpoint. It's not a one-to-one unique experience. It's fairly similar to what Uncharted does in many ways. Um, it does a lot of what a lot of third person action adventure games do in many ways. Like there's very few things that it does uniquely. Maybe mixing in the puzzles, I think, is a little bit better than what
Yeah,
Uncharted tries to do. Uncharted didn't really figure that out. I don't even think they really figured it out ever, if I'm being 100% honest, compared to how Tomb Raider just ran with it.
yeah,
Some of them puzzles in Tomb Raider with like the wind and stuff like that. You're talking doing that in like 2013. Like it's really, really well crafted. So yeah, it would be the bench, aka backlog.
yeah. So right now you have for Beat It, aka Start, that would be Disco Elysium. Backlog It, aka Bench It, that would be Tomb Raider 2013. And then for your Cut, aka Burn It, that's gonna be Elix 1.
That is going to be Elix one. And do you know what? It doesn't make me feel as bad because Elix one did the the companion faction thing, I think, a lot better. But that's really all it did better. I think Elix 2 was truly just a step up in every other regard. So I don't feel as bad of like having to cut Elix 1 for a lot of people because there's going to be so many people that boot it up and just in that opening section where you crash and you're just trying to like even just initiating combat for the first time. It's frustrating. If you're not into Eurojank, you are not going to enjoy what is on offer there because it is so stiff and so clunky. Even the jetpacking is stiff in that first game. As cool as it was, it's just it's a perfect Piranha Bytes title of really cool idea, really poor execution for a wider audience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because you've tried it, right? You haven't beaten Elix One, you've dipped into it,
I've
or
never
you
played
haven't.
Elix 1. I
Okay,
finished, I put like 70 hours into Elix 2.
did you beat Elix Two?
Yeah.
Or oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it paces itself a little bit better. The story in Elix One, some parts in Elix Two kind of felt weird in the way it did it as well. But it's not like a flat across the board. Like the pacing in one was much better than two. I think for the main story, they did a better job in Helix One than Helix Two. But I don't see many people. If I was to recommend this and boot it up, a slew of comments would probably come in and be like, "What the hell is your problem?
What did you recommend it to me?
What the hell are you smoking?"
So your official final ranking is Beat It for Disco Elysium,
Yep,
Backlog It for
Tomb Raider.
2013's Tomb Raider,
Yep,
and Burn It for Elix 1.
yep.
Okay, you're locking it in. You can
Sorry,
change.
sorry, Piranha Bytes, baby. Not that you're
Oh,
around anymore.
that's
But
so sad, man. So damn sad. All right, so those are Loon's three selections. Now it is time for me to be put on the hot seat, and I have no idea what you've selected. So, for a little background, not that most people care, but Loon and I share a document that we use for kind of some pre-production shit for the show. And so I went ahead and put my selections in the document so that Loon could see them. That way he could quickly pull up a trailer before the show to have all that ready to go. So that's that. But Loon's the one having to pull up the trailer, so I don't need to know the games that Loon is selecting for me. So I have absolutely no idea. I'm going into this totally blind, and that makes it even
you
more.
you hurt me, I now hurt you.
Oh God.
Right, so you want me to list off the ones that I've chosen, and then you're gonna sit there
Yep.
and cry in a corner.
Oh
Right,
God.
Sleeping Dogs
Okay.
Definitive Edition, because it is the only way to play that game. The Last of Us Part One,
Oh
and oh, what's that title that you've been playing recently, Brandon? That
no,
you're
don't
back
tell
into?
me. You're not doing Alpha Protocol, are you?
Yeah, I think that would make a really really interesting thing.
Oh,
Being that
bro.
brutal, you trying to put a fire up under my ass for a Eurojank and a CRPG-esque game. The
I give
ball's
you
back in your court.
I give you Elix 1 and you give me my three favorite games ever.
Hey,
God,
I didn't put
dude.
Mass Effect 2 down.
No,
Mass
I
Effect
know.
1.
I know.
I
I'm
was
just
lenient.
joking.
I didn't want them going anywhere.
I'm just joking. Oh man. Okay, let me write this down. So you fucking A. You chose for me Sleeping Dogs, Alpha Protocol,
And then The Last of
and
Us.
TLOU 1. Okay. All right. And once again, you got to keep in mind, this is not just my personal ranking. This is also me trying to recommend these games universally, recommend these games to the audience. Which of these games would I recommend most to the audience? That is the game I'm going to suggest for you to beat. The game I'm going to suggest for you to dive into if you have never played it. Fuck, dude. For Beat It, for the top selection, I gotta go The Last of Us 1. I have to go The Last of Us 1. Because once again, when you think Beat It, what do you think? You think roll credits, see it to the end, finish the story, take in the story. And so,
Yeah.
specifically for that terminology, that is a story you have to see to the end. To really understand the gravity, to really understand the impact, you got to see The Last of Us 1 in its entirety. You know what I mean? You need to play through and finish that game. It is MGS2, The Last of Us 1, The Witcher 3. Like it's those games. And then you could Mass Effect is a great story, but you're so invested because of what you're choosing. It's not
Hmm.
necessarily that the story itself is top tier, don't get me wrong. But like The Last of Us 1 is in a league of its own with storytelling. You could sit there after finishing that game, and if you played it with a buddy, a wife, a family member, whatever, you could sit there and just debate the entire but you know you could do the same thing with the show. And if you really now I'm going The Last of Us 1. I'm going The Last of Us 1 for Beat It because you get so much more out of that experience playing it, in my opinion. Okay. So The Last of Us 1 is going to go down in the beat it camp. Now to backlog it, a game that you should play, but maybe, a game that you should play, but I would still recommend playing Last of Us before it and finishing The Last of Us before playing this. I would say,
Oh.
so brutal, and Jesus Christ, dude. Fuck, this sucks, dude. Okay, Sleeping Dogs is going to be the game that I recommend for people to backlog.
Really?
So go ahead and tell me why you're surprised, and then I'll counter.
So I would. This is even crazier to me because I would have thought Alpha Protocol would have snuck in here. Because I was internally even debating whether or not you'd put it as beat first and foremost. Because you're talking about, I know The Last of Us is like an incredible story and stuff like that, but its gameplay isn't like, eh. It doesn't really do much. There's not much choice and stuff
The
like
Alpha
that.
Protocol in
No, but
comparison.
no. But what I mean is like choice and stuff like that, and being able to build around that choice. Because
Oh
when you
yeah,
actually
yeah,
get deeper into them skill trees, let's be 100% real. It's not like amazing, but it's not as bad as when you pick up a gun for the first time and you're wobbling like a meth
yeah.
addict in a crystal cabin. Like,
So I'll explain my reasoning then, because that you're exactly hitting on my reasoning. Sleeping Dogs, you're going to pick up Sleeping Dogs. It's going to play fucking amazing from the moment you touch the controller until 100 hours in, or how it like it's never going to play poorly. That game is going to play amazing the entire time. The driving, the slow motion shooting, the jumping onto different cars, the mixed martial arts upgrading. So like every moment of gameplay is top tier. Now, is it something you necessarily need to see to its finality? Do you need to see it to its end? Not necessarily. I don't think the story is top tier in Sleeping Dogs. Whereas with The Last of Us, you got to beat that game. You got to see it to its end. All right. So now I guess we need to talk about Alpha Protocol, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to select Alpha Protocol to be the game you burn out of these three. And listen, I don't think this would be my personal ranking for my like personal, very subjective top 100 list. This would not be my ranking. But Alpha Protocol, you will play this game for the first quite a few hours, and it's not going to be a very enjoyable gameplay experience. The story is off the charts. It's one of the only games where choice literally matters every step of the way and can alter entire scenes that you see, entire gameplay missions that you get. It is a game where agency actually has impact. And it, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Do you want to suffer through that gameplay for that long? And I'm thinking, once again, this is a recommendation, broadly speaking. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Yeah.
not for me, I'm playing through it again. This is like the fifth time I've played through it in 5 years. I
Hmm.
love that game so damn much. But even starting it up, like as I started up, I was like, oh, well, here we go. I gotta slog through these opening hours until I can, upgrade the shit out of my character to do some cool moves and to actually be able to shoot accurately. And
There's
yeah,
mandatory tolerance that needs to be met
yeah,
before you can breach into the enjoyment aspect. That's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Because the thread of logic I was going with is that you could kind of somewhat argue that with like Disco Elysium for a lot of people, in the way that Disco Elysium doesn't really have the most. It's not pulse pounding like The Last of Us and stuff like that, and keeping you up that way. But it is also a unique experience, and I think what Alpha Protocol does in many, many, many ways is a unique experience. Because there's very few games that, like you said, when you're making a moral dilemma choice, you maybe get like a throwaway text line or something like that. The entire level changes.
yes,
Like they did that in like 2009, 2008, whenever this came out, 2009, E3.
11, I think. Oh, okay.
Oh, the trailers 2009. I don't know when it released then.
Oh, okay.
So my bad.
2010, 2010. Yep, it was
Yeah.
2010. Yep, that makes sense. E3 09, release 2010. That
So
makes sense.
doing that where, that wasn't really a phrase that was uttered as much like, oh, choice has consequences. Like that was like mid, 2013 onwards that they started to really fucking fan that phrase. So they were doing that and actually backing it up. That's the big difference, is that it wasn't just like, oh, you choose to apply pressure onto this person. It's not like a faction meter that's going down and just that's it. Like, oh yeah, they charge you 5% more for a weapon if you want to buy from it. Like the entire layout of the mission structure would change. They would
Yep.
get more guards. The guards would be better equipped. Or you could even befriend and they would get you further into the mission without conflict and stuff like that. So that's where I'm like, I'm surprised that that's been placed that low. Because if we're genuinely, but it's a tough free picks though. It is a really tough free picks because they each of them games do something
So
S
different.
tier in their own right. That choice and consequence is S tier for Alpha Protocol, but that gameplay is
Yes.
whack.
Yep.
Sleeping Dogs gameplay for me, I would take it over The Last of Us every day of the week and
Oh, all day.
Alpha Protocol. Like it's this hand to hand combat's impeccable, but true narrative powerhouse.
Not.
The Last of Us,
Nah.
man, would
Yeah.
take that cake. So it's what you value most in a game and what you would hope gamers would value most.
And it's the thing where The Last of Us has good gameplay, not great gameplay, good gameplay, solid, consistent throughout the entirety of it with an S tier story. I think it's the best game overall. I think when you all the elements combined, I think it is the best of the three listed here. Uh, Sleeping Dogs, solid story, solid to good, incredible gameplay. And then Alpha Protocol has incredible elements like out the wazoo. But I would say, even at its best, even whenever you're fully upgraded, with your Mr. Thornton. When you're fully upgraded, it's like a 7 out of 10 gameplay experience. Story through the roof, agency through the roof. So yeah, those are going to be my picks. Loon, that's the game today for beat it, backlog it, burn it. And my friends, I'm going to ask you, these first off, how do you dig the game style, this sort of topic centric format for the shows? We're going to try to mix these in with the news, that way it's not just all news reviews, back to back to back ranking news reviews. We're going to try to do some topics thrown in here if they perform well, if you all like them. So make sure, if you do like these, to like the video to get it out to more people, and drop a
I think,
comment.
and yeah, I was gonna say engage in the comments and stuff. Like, get like the whole point of these topics as well is equally to see what you would make in your list.
Totally.
Um, is to get you like all as involved as possible. So yeah, get
Absolutely.
involved.
So if you want to drop down and hit your beat it, backlog it, burn it, your three that you would pick out of these, if you want to go through the list I gave to Loon, the list Loon gave to me, and you want to pick your beat it, backlog it, burn it, we would absolutely appreciate that. And if you want to drop some suggestions down for us for any topics that you want to see in the future, man, we are always open to. And I got a game that we're gonna play as well, that a viewer recommended, like an over under style game. So we got a lot of good shit on the way, and we hope that you are locked in, subscribed, and all of that good stuff. It massively helps out the channel. So we appreciate you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we shall see you very soon. Goodbye.
Yeah, like,
All right. How long was that one?
I don't know. I
18?
clicked off of
I think it
it.
should have been like
I can quickly load
17.
up file. 27:37.
Jesus Christ. That felt so much shorter. Okay, I was trying to be quick. Oh well. Um,
So, obviously the Zoom's still rolling. We need to do the outro for them, fellow folks.
yeah, man. Let me hold on 1 second before we roll out of here. Let me refresh one more time to see if there's any news worth covering. Nothing. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay. Um, I mean, we could do the shadows one, but uh probably not worth it. Probably not worth it. Cool. Well, dude, that's been a nice, what, probably 3.5 hours or so for the Zoom folk. Got a nice, I thought a video that was going to be about an hour, 2 hours, ended up being over three. So we hope you all enjoyed on your long form viewers. We hope you all enjoyed the show as well. I don't, sometimes I'm kind of unsure about the format for this. I'm not going to sit here and lie about the long form stuff. I'm kind of unsure if it's like, are people going to really dig the whole behind the scenes thing, or
I
yeah,
mean, we
I
haven't put the
really,
first one out yet, technically. Well,
that
people
is
need.
true.
We haven't put that first one that we did, so we don't know
Yeah.
if
And
peeps
so,
be liking that.
yeah,
Wow, that uploads in a minute. Even that baffles me.
that's so insane, dude. Yeah, so I guess I'll just kind of monitor feedback on the long form stuff, see if there's anything that people want tweaked. But we're trying our best to get this stuff recorded for y'all and uploaded for y'all, because we know that there's a long form audience out there who, likes to put this stuff on in the background, drive to work, do their thing.
Yeah, and
Um,
the keeping it running, giving you guys the intros, the extra outro, and stuff like that in between. It's just a little bit of extra nuggets for those that do sit there and consume the longer stuff.
yeah,
So
absolutely. People who don't necessarily mind like a
exclusive
little,
content.
yeah, we believe in exclusivity. We Nintendo. Um, Yeah, people who don't necessarily mind like a slightly lower pace. Hopefully that's try to I'm never the most energetic, uplifting personality in the world. But hopefully it's not too brutal to hear us after a topic sit there and kind of think, because that's after we record something, my brain's like immediately going of like, okay, well, how should we do this? Should we fix this? How should we title this? And so, yeah, I know
I think I said it
some,
last time, but it offers a human view into it though as well. Of like I think that's what also separates us with everything being done on the fly. It's not pre-production, the post-production, sorry, stuff. That's not what we're
yeah,
doing. It's all in the moment and stuff like that. So just keeping it human and
yeah.
genuine.
Well, and yeah, that's the thing too, is like nowadays you'll literally scroll through YouTube and see fully AI content that's fully being created by AI, script written by AI, voiced by AI, and then uploaded and like 30,000 people view it. And so hopefully just this element of, oh yeah, these dudes they're working their asses off and actually two dudes just trying to figure this shit out. So hopefully that comes through, man, and just hopefully it's an enjoyable listen while y'all are driving. Because, like I said, I I'm a fucking big podcast guy. I listen to podcasts nonstop while driving. So totally understand y'all wanting the longer form stuff. And as long as people are tuning in, and this isn't even a thing where like if the first, because like Loon said, we haven't uploaded the first one yet, and that's I need to figure out that cadence as well because I'm trying to get the short form stuff out first and then post the long form last.
Hmm.
Um, but I got to
Well,
figure that.
whenever that last short form video goes, just upload it.
Yep,
Give it like
for
an 8 hour
sure.
breathing room, maybe.
But now we're already to the point where we got new short form content going out before we finish the last short form content going out. You know what I mean? Like, so we posted
No,
that
but for
Star
like the
Wars.
long form stuff, I think the understanding would be that whatever they're being given, if it's like with the news stories and stuff, it's going to be late to them regardless.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course.
So I don't think there's that. I don't think there's that big of a
Yeah.
deal
I just
because
want to make
it's
sure
just
I'm,
something just to have listening to.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't think people are necessarily clamoring for like, you know,
Ubisoft tactical shooter news. Ooh.
right, exactly. So, yeah, guys, hit us with your feedback. Let us know what you think of the long form show. If there's any tweaks that need to be made. I mean, I think we're pretty locked in with the format for the long form show. I don't think that, obviously, if you just absolutely hate the in between stuff, it wouldn't be the biggest deal
Calling
in
for
the
my
world.
head in the comments on the very first video. Oh, okay. Well, now we know.
Yeah, it wouldn't be the biggest deal in the world for us to like pause some of that stuff. But like Loon said, I do think it's a cool, like exclusive look behind the scenes that other people don't get. Like I would personally, that's why we leave it in, is because I think personally, I think Loon feels as well that it'd be interesting to see some of how the sausage is made. So yeah, just let us know how you feel about it. And yeah, that's it, guys. We appreciate you so much for tuning in and hit us up in the comments. And yeah, we'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
See you later.